This episode is brought to you by the DNA store on Redbubble. Want some DNA gear? Want to show off your favorite DNA shows? Whether you want to show Matt that you're also glad he's here, or show your allegiance to the Guardians of DNA Fireteam, or even just have a fascination with Toast building a snowman, we have the merch for you. Wear our inside jokes with pride and show off your favorite DNA shows. There's something here for everyone on the DNA store. Check us out at redbubble.com/people/DNA network today. What's up, nerds? Welcome to NGR Radio, episode 10. Matt, we made it to episode 10. I'm one of the hosts, Corey Deering, and alongside me, as always, Matthew Keel. Matt, I'm so glad you're here.
Liar.
Not true. And you're wearing the glasses, so we can't tell if you fall asleep this week?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm doing. That's exactly what I'm doing.
That's a great idea.
Yep. I couldn't find $500 glasses that had eyes on them, so I just had to get the mirrors. So now all you guys can read my laptop because, that's what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
And you can see Corey's beautiful face just staring
what you're looking at is
right
not
now.
safe for the internet, Matt.
No, it's not. It's not.
Dirty.
It's not. It's very dirty. It's very dirty.
Yeah. Matt,
You're
brought
a dirty
guest
boy,
this
aren't you,
time.
Corey? I did. I brought a very own Beast Coast transplant. He's from Jersey. He likes to vape. He drinks Bud Light Lime with beer salt, and he hosts a lovely show called Arianna's House. John Martin, how are you, sir?
Hey, so just before I start, is this the point where I plug my show or what?
You can do what you want.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and plug my show. Hi, everybody. My name's John. So I've been a gamer basically my whole life, but I'm also a family man. I live out in Washington. And, as Matt mentioned, I recently started a YouTube family cooking show with my entire family. My wife's involved. All three of my kids are involved. And it's named after my youngest daughter because she is the one who is most ready to be on camera.
She's the star of that show.
She's basically the star of the show. She introduces it every week. Typically, we then take over for the more complicated cooking stuff. But she's always involved in some way because it's Arianna's house. And it's just a fun family cooking show. It's meant to kind of teach people some simple recipes that are affordable for a family. My wife is a nurse. She works overnight during the weeks. I am an HR specialist. I work all day. And, we just kind of want to have a little bit of fun and share some of the most fun that we have with people, which is us in the kitchen making great food. So if you'd like to check us out, you can go to youtube.com/Arianna's House. That's Arianna with two N's. AriannasHouse. So thanks for having me on the show. I'm very excited to be here.
Happy to have you, sir.
Yes. Subscribe. Bam. Subscribed.
Please. Yes.
Right there.
I need it.
Just did. All right.
Oh, that's all.
Also joining us, Adam McGill, fallen little angel from up north. How you doing, sir?
How you guys doing?
Sorry to interrupt your PlayStation time.
Hey, I'm being paid to be here, man. No problem.
I know, I paid him to be here.
And I just have to stop things for a second. I got so excited to introduce John, I forgot to do something.
There you go.
Oh, I missed that. Okay.
Oh. Matt, you
Okay.
ruined the whole show.
Oh, we gotta
That's what you're
restart.
supposed to,
It's
that's
what I
you're
do.
supposed to do.
Been doing this for 10
YouTube.
episodes now, Corey. 10
I know.
episodes.
I know. You're fired. New host.
Awesome. Out.
See, this is really what's happening. John is the new co-host.
This is a diversity move. That's what that is. Yeah. HR came in.
Literally, HR specialist, diversity move.
We already met our diversity quota for the month. We had Ed on last week.
Oh man. This is-
The monthly quota, yeah. No, that's true. I know this from my HR experience.
Oh, jeez.
I need sensitivity training.
Oh, jeez. You, dude, last week I talked about a Bible cinematic universe starring The Rock as Jesus Christ. Okay.
What?
Oh my gosh.
Right? Yeah, John.
Yeah. And Sean
HR,
Connery.
reel this in.
So.
I mean, I'd buy it.
Of course you would.
Who wouldn't buy it, right?
Oh gosh, it's my favorite episode we've ever done.
Oh, that was
It was
so
amazing.
good. And you just kept riffing.
Dude. This is the next hit Netflix show.
He kept inceptioning himself into deeper levels of ridiculousness. It was kind of impressive. Like, I was jealous that I didn't improv something like that.
Like, is there like co-stars and stuff?
Oh,
Like,
of course there is.
Yeah.
He had an
Leo-
ensemble.
Leonardo DiCaprio, Satan.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
But,
Hey,
I
he
didn't
played
even think
good
of
thing.
adding Leo.
Season 4, DiCaprio was Satan.
The Rise.
Oh,
Satan.
and it's
Yeah.
Leo,
Oh
so you
my
kind of
gosh.
like him.
Leo.
I mean,
Oh my
he's
gosh.
awesome.
But we make okay. So this is part 2 of
Oh, boy, here we go.
NGR's religious cinematic universe.
Oh, shit.
Leonardo
help us.
DiCaprio plays Satan, but Satan is a sympathetic villain.
He's very handsome. You know, he's
Yeah,
got.
we're gonna have to make him the. Do we want to go like?
He's
We're going to have him
he's
just dressed
hero.
like Gatsby.
Do we want to go? Yeah. Do we want to go Great Gatsby or do we want to go Django Unchained, Leo?
Like he's oh, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Django Unchained, in my
Well,
opinion.
you want the Django Unchained insanity, but you want the Gatsby look.
Okay.
Good point. He has to be smooth,
Okay.
modern. Yeah, like Devil's Advocate. Okay, I like this.
Yeah.
Got it.
I'm a
Nice.
fan of this. I did not expect us to get off track this quickly, but I am
Now-
a fan of this.
Nailed it.
Now, here's the thing. After the 3rd season, which is Noah's Ark, starring Sean Connery as Noah, does
Yep.
Noah come forward?
About what?
Does he come forward through time with Jesus to be like,
Yeah.
you know?
I mean, we've got The Rock, Jesus, so why
The
not,
Rock,
right? It's
Jesus.
not like, oh shit, it's Sean Connery. Noah is in the future now. Now it makes no sense. Now it's
The
ridiculous.
Rock Jesus, that just sounds so funny.
I know.
Adam, how are you, sir?
I'm awesome. I'm still gonna watch that though.
Oh my gosh.
With my,
We
my
need
boozy, my boozy
Matt-
iced tea I'm having.
Matt, we really need to flesh out this story and just make a separate YouTube video of this.
I sense a group message coming on. I'm in.
We really gotta write this.
Yeah, I think
But it's gonna be
a
like-
story that needs to be told.
It's gonna be like a Netflix or HBO show, though. It's not gonna be a 23 episode season. It's gonna be like 7 episodes per season that are an hour.
HBO. So we're talking about like heads getting chopped off, Game of Thrones
Oh,
style
yeah.
and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Well,
I love
first
it.
episode has to have tits because you have to pay the HBO
See?
tax.
No,
Yeah.
see, here's what's happening is like it's gonna be along the lines of like Spartacus or 300 mixed a little bit with like that kind of style, and like Jesus is gonna be like this huge warrior guy, but the last 2 episodes of the final season is just him going back and fixing all the wrongs that he did to fall in line with what the Bible actually says.
All right. So no offense. I have a demand. You mentioned Spartacus. We need the guy who played Crixus and who is also
Yeah.
he's on Arrow. I can't remember what character he played.
He played
has to
Destiny.
be-
Yeah.
Who is he going to be? He's got to be somebody. Maybe Paul, the apostle.
Maybe we could have Kirk Douglas have a role. Before
Is
he
he not
dies.
dead? Is he
No,
alive?
he's still. I'm pretty sure he's still alive.
Really?
Oh man.
Can he walk?
I mean, Morgan Freeman's God. We know this.
Yeah, but he's also 30.
Huh?
He's like 30 years old. Black don't crack. You never heard that?
No.
No.
Just
I've
kidding.
heard.
We can cut that out and edit, I guess, right? No?
I know
Nope,
about
we don't edit it.
ashiness,
We don't
though.
edit anything out of this show. Oh, this show is just a flaming train flying down the tracks.
Oh, and I am a fan, that's for sure.
So I can't believe we
Black
brought this
dope
up.
crack.
Oh, jeez.
Sorry, I've said that a few times.
Okay,
recently.
so Matt, people we need to write parts for is
I have to
that
get a
guy.
piece of paper. Kirk
what's
Douglas?
His name? No.
The guy who played Crixus?
Manu Bennett is his name.
Manu Bennett?
We need to write a part for him. We need to write a part for Michael Douglas, and we need to write a part for Vin
Not
Diesel.
Michael Douglas. Who wants Michael Douglas?
I don't know.
Kirk Douglas.
Kirk Douglas, whatever, same
The
thing.
good
I don't want, honestly, either of the Douglases. So.
And Vin Diesel, because him and The Rock.
Vin Diesel is St. Peter.
Weren't they just fighting anyways?
Right.
Yeah, you guys heard about that? Yeah. So crazy. Which, by the way, The Rock would whoop Vin Diesel's ass. I'm sorry for anybody who doesn't want to hear that, but it's the truth.
Yeah. He's a hardworking man, and he calls out bullshit. And I thought it was kind of cool he called that out, but I guess he shouldn't really rant on.
It's unprofessional,
on social media, but yeah, that's the last guy you want to probably take off.
Because Stone Cold said so.
I guess I shouldn't dive too much into it, but I've got my feelings, and I've got your back, The Rock, because I know you're a fan of the show. The show's awesome.
I got your back.
I tweeted The Rock our idea for the show.
So you should be on your perfect fit.
He hasn't responded. Surprise.
Oh, come on, Dwayne Johnson.
Well, now I get to tweet at him again because we've already talked about it 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
So
Hey,
maybe that should just be the weekly topic for me. Is just we're just gonna start.
We're just gonna deep dive into this.
Episodes. Like we're just gonna brainstorm episodes as my topic every week.
There you
go.
Yeah.
Oh, man, what a great show idea. And like you know how we got like real kind of we were walking that line talking about Muhammad and like how we were gonna
yeah
okay,
I remember.
So it's not gonna be the real Muhammad, but we're gonna have like a short round type sidekick.
Oh no.
In season 4, and his name's just gonna be Mo. We'll just call
This
him
is
Mo.
the worst idea ever, by the way.
We're just gonna call him Mo. It's gonna be great.
No, it will not. You're gonna get shot or something. I do not advise.
Oh. All right, maybe we should move on to a real topic. Matt, I guess we'll start with you.
What's a topic?
Oh my gosh!
I'm kidding. I actually have a topic.
I thought this was a Tinder podcast. What's going on here?
Swipe left.
You guys keep swiping right on me. I don't know what to tell you.
I swiped up on you, Matt.
Oh, you super liked me. Oh, very nice.
Dude.
Very nice, sir. So we all go through them. I'm not in the middle of one now, but gaming lulls. I'm pretty sure it's something we all experience, except maybe Adam, because he looks like he's all gaming all the time, except when he's on this show.
I know, I want that chair so bad.
And when I fit it in, yeah.
So what do you think brings on a gaming lull? What do you generally try and do to get out of it? What happens for you in a gaming lull? See, for me specifically, whenever I'm in a gaming lull, it usually means I'm either sort of stressed at work or having a bit of depression or something like that. Sometimes, very rarely is it the case that I'm just not feeling it. Like it's usually something external to gaming that really brings me into a lull. I don't know why that is. I've always tried to figure it out. I never really understand it. And usually how I get out of it is I usually take time off. I'll usually put everything sort of down and away, and then the minute something good happens, I usually use gaming as kind of a reward. So it's just sort of like, hey, this happened, treat time. So I jump back into a game.
If nobody minds, I have some thoughts on the topic.
Full disclosure, it was your topic and I completely stole it.
No, it's all good. So, because the reason is because I came up with another topic which is kind of related, but I'm not going to get into that so that we can save it for that topic. But I've been through a lot of gaming lulls in the past, and a lot of times it's actually because of what you were saying, Matt. Things like going through a little bit of a depression, where all I want to do is sit down and watch Law and Order Special Victims Unit because I want to be more depressed, apparently. Because if there's one way to keep yourself in a depression, watch Law and Order Special Victims Unit. But anyway, on top of that, just like there's times where you're just too busy. But I have also run into there's just not stuff being released that I care about. Like there have been like these periods that we've gone through where it seems like the only thing that's coming out that really is getting a lot of attention and hype is something that I'm not interested in. So, for example, I'm a big fan of, smaller experiences because I've got 3 kids, I've got a wife, I've got, all these. I have very little time to game. So something like The Witcher, for example, that's when that's the focus. I don't have the attention span to play through something like that because I maybe play this Saturday and then 7 days later I play again. I get into it and I'm like, what the hell is even happening in this game? So when the industry goes through these trends where there's this hot new thing and that's the only real type of game coming out, if that game type doesn't appeal to me, I go through a real lull. And then I think the last lull that I went through actually wasn't that long ago, and what kind of broke it for me was Ori and the Blind Forest. Okay. That is a game that appeals to me. It's old school play style. It's simple pick up and play. I could leave it alone for a month, jump back in, and it is the same experience as it was the last time I played it, and I know exactly what I'm doing. So yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm with you there, but I also think that it sucks for people in like your situation where you have other things you need to pay attention to, like the kids, like the wife, like the job, and you can't follow it. Like you don't have your finger on the pulse, so you don't know what little things that are coming out. Whereas, like, I mean, and every time I've tried to really deep dive into that, a little thing comes out and then life happens and I can't pay attention for 2 weeks, so I don't know of anything else. And especially later, like, getting to where I'm older, I've actually found kind of a solace in roguelike games. Mainly because you're
like
always
no.
You've
been big on that. Is that not a roguelike?
No, it's not a roguelike. There are things from roguelikes that come into it. But like, if you've ever played Spelunky,
Rogue Legacy,
Nuclear Throne, those are
that, by the way. Yeah.
Those are three big ones that have come out recently. You always start at the beginning.
I see what you mean.
And that's sometimes sometimes a run might last 20 minutes, sometimes it'll last 20 seconds, but you just go until you're done, and that tends to actually keep me out of lulls because I'm like, I know I can do better. Corey, Adam, what do you guys think?
I can kind of relate. I mean, as much as I have so many video games, I can't, like, what I miss playing is online role-playing games, and that's your games like Warcraft, Final Fantasy, and stuff like that. I was probably 5 or 6 years of always online, playing these games, raiding. Obviously, family life was priority at the time, and I couldn't commit to those games anymore, which sucks.
Yeah.
But I mean, that kind of sucks because I still miss going back, and I still get asked to come back and play these games, and I miss playing these games. So part of me, that's why I switched to console gaming. But I can relate in a way where there's sometimes when you have all this and you're surrounded by stress, work, or life, where for me personally is, I just got to get away. I got to go see a movie. I just need 2 hours of just mindless entertainment, but I'm not doing anything. It's just like, your Law and Order and so forth. And I do that actually quite often. I find it's very, it heals me. But in regards to gaming lull, for me, it's the PlayStation 3 release, where at the time, I played nothing but role-playing games. I didn't play shooters. I didn't play puzzle games. And I was forced to come outside of my bubble and play other genres.
Because they didn't have a lot of role-playing options yet.
They didn't.
No, they did not.
And I played a lot of Resistance in the beginning, and other games that were, most people considered not great. I can remember like Black Site Area 51, having a lot of fun with that. And now I look at it, and now I don't just have role-playing behind me. I have everything, even from your dancing games to your karaoke games, whatever. Now I enjoy more than just not one set mine, and that was because of the Super Nintendo, because all I played was role-playing. So sometimes the lawls can turn into a positive to come, to play other things.
You just changed my future topic, actually. That's because I got a good question I want to ask you over that, and I think everybody's going to have that.
But I definitely could agree on that, where depression sometimes has a lot to do with where it doesn't matter if you're playing that epic game. It's just like you can't concentrate.
Yeah.
But it also kind of works in the opposite, doesn't it? Where there's sometimes when you're depressed and you find a game that you can get lost in.
Yep.
That takes you away from that, right?
That's true.
And it's weird. And those are the best experiences of my gaming life, and my greatest memories are when I'm going through a rough time and I find a game to just get completely lost in. It's rare, but it's so nice.
Yeah.
I think I had that with Child of Light, and that was a short game too, but it was fun role-playing.
Yeah.
I had that as well. When Shadow of the Colossus got remastered, I didn't start actually playing. I played through Eco like when I got it because I didn't play it the first time around. But when I started X-Ray School and was really stressed out, like I actually started playing through Shadow of the Colossus, and I played through it the entire 2 years I was in X-Ray School. And I started to just, in a weird way, think of each Colossus as sort of like a metaphor for school. Like, this is one test, and this is another test. Beating the time trials was actually like finals. And I was never able to get the platinum because of a glitch, but, finishing everything in that game was like, it happened like right around the time when I finished X-Ray School, and it was really sort of triumphant for me. So that really helped me.
Those are those memories that I cherish the most. And Matt will know, by the way, for our audience, that I am a huge Final Fantasy VII fan. I advocate for it all the time, and I am also not very informed on video games. Like, I'm not going to sit here and tell you about why it's technically great, why the story is this, and blah, 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 blah. But it's because I played that game at a time in my life where I didn't have anything, like you were saying, that I was able to do and accomplish and feel proud of myself. That game gave me that. It gave me a story, and every accomplishment that I beat, when I beat the Ruby weapon, when I beat the Diamond weapon, when I finally kicked Sephiroth's ass, that memory stuck with me, and that because of that, it'll always be my favorite game.
Yeah. Corey, sir.
Sorry.
You're good.
Yeah.
You're good.
Well, we've talked about this even on the last DualShock podcast, where it's nostalgia with that game, because I have that same nostalgia. I was in high school when I played that game. But when you take that game now, where it's being broken up, and it's not going to have the same feeling, or even if they re-released it, it will not have that same feeling anymore. When you first
It's not going to be the same game at that point either.
No, it's just broken up, right? So
broken up, and they're also going to change the play style. I mean, they're doing so much to that game, and that's why. Like, I remember on one of our shows, the Platinum Achievement podcast that actually was never released. John and I got into a big old argument about Final Fantasy VII. And
I was really drunk, by the way, and I don't remember.
That's fine. That's fine. We got into an argument as to who that is for. Now, John lovingly said, well, that game's for people like me. And I said, yes, but people like you are a lot of people your age, and I believe you're around my age. I'm 36. You're close,
31.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, close enough.
Yeah. In my 30s. I think.
Yeah, we can. Fine. But a lot of people our age have sort of stopped playing video games at some point. between Final Fantasy VII's release and now. Not all of us, because all of us are still here. So I think saying that is for a certain niche market that really just loves it, it's not wrong, but it's not the whole story.
You know what? And now that you've said it again, I kind of agree with you. I think the key is they have to find a balance. They have to update it, and they have to make it appealing to gamers who are used to playing games that exist today. But I think that it's not one or the other. They also have to appeal to the people who raised their voices enough to make it even happen, and respect what the game was. They can't go too far either way. And in all honesty, that's why I'm worried if they're even going to be able to do it. This is a hard thing to pull off. It's been 20 years. If they did it 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I think it's been 20 years, something like that.
97, I think, is when it came out.
97?
The 20th anniversary of it. Yeah.
So almost 20 years it's been. They honestly, they screwed up not making this remake back on the PS2 or PS3, maybe following it up with a sequel. I hope they can pull it off. I honestly, I'm like this. My fingers are crossed, but this is going to be tough for them, if you ask me.
Well, and see,
I just wish it was a separate. Sorry, a separate story.
I kind of agree with that.
And the only reason I say that is, and people forget because it's a nostalgia game, but that game helped change the genre as a whole for role playing going forward.
And it put PlayStation on the map.
And it put PlayStation and Square on the map. But besides being Square's Epic and Cloud and Sephiroth and the gang,
the Buster Sword.
And you got those bosses, right? The end game content and stuff like that. It certainly changed role playing itself. And this is where you got Advent Children, the movie, and stuff like that. To me, it's just like, give me another story, but episodic. Don't, with you remaking and now changing the combat system, you're gonna have the trolls just pounce on that, and it's a shame because they're not comparable and they shouldn't be comparable.
Sorry, go ahead, Corey.
Oh, I was just gonna say, this game is gonna suffer from a similar thing to what No Man's Sky suffered from, was too much hype, and it's never ever gonna live up to the expectations of fans.
No Man's Sky didn't.
No, I mean, not the same way, but in a similar way.
Square's going to show off a game and go, we're going to take that out on release. Because that's exactly what happened to No Man's Sky.
Well, I just mean, like, in terms of the hype factor, and that the game is never, ever going to live up to fans' expectations of this game.
Yeah, even if No Man's Sky, sorry, Matt, even if No Man's Sky had left in everything that they promised, they probably wouldn't have been able to pull it off as well as they promised, and they still would have not met their expectations, because I think it's a good comparison as far as level of hype, because No Man's Sky, for example, they're talking about changing the entire industry as a whole. Usually, things that change the industry as a whole, you don't hear that they're going to change the industry as a whole beforehand. We had a vote in one of Facebook groups that I'm in the other day for the most influential first-person shooter of all time, Call of Duty 4, right? There were no articles about how this is going to be the game that changes gaming beforehand. Same thing with Final Fantasy. Like, there were great previews like, hey, this looks great. But typically, if you come out and you say, we're going to change the industry as a whole, you're setting yourself up for way too high of expectations. And I think Final Fantasy Remake is also kind of falling into that trap. Like, dude, it's been 20 years. The expectations
if No Man's Sky had a $20, $30 price tag, I think it would probably be different.
Yep, agreed.
I mean, now, as someone who is, like, I'm at a point where I'm frustrated playing No Man's Sky, but I don't want to stop.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, the people I've talked to, I'm probably agree with me or not. The people I've talked to say they play this game for an hour or two and they have fun doing it, and then they want to play something else, but they still want to go back and grind for an hour the next day. It's not a game you can play for 4 or 5 hours straight.
So I'll be complete. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. No Man's Sky is just like one of those games me and Brian kind of talked about it a little bit, and Joey on our podcast last week was No Man's Sky seems like a good game to almost remote play on Vita in bed. Like, you take that hour to relax while you're watching TV in bed and kind of grind a little bit.
It's kind of engaging. Right, yeah.
So Matt, you have this, right? So you're playing this?
No Man's Sky? Yeah.
Okay,
I'm absolutely enraptured by it.
Oh, okay, all right. So
like, I absolutely love it. Like, I'm at a point where I'm frustrated with the game, but that's just because I'm trying to figure out how to do what I think I need to do, and you know, I'm kind of approaching it the way I would a Souls game. You know, I'm kind of trying to beat my head against it and figure it out rather than look it up. You know.
Well, I'll be completely. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, but see now, I just want to touch on what you said, John, because I think you're actually very correct. The level of hype around a Final Fantasy remake and the level of hype around No Man's Sky when it was announced. It's a very real problem for the developer at that point. Now, No Man's Sky is a problem because they're talking about quote unquote changing the industry. To a degree, I think they did something special for procedurally generated content.
I need to address that. Yes.
Now with Final Fantasy VII, you're talking about arguably one of the most revered. Well, it's definitely one of the most revered games of all time, and it's something that people that have been doing industry stuff for a very long time say is among the best ever. This is that point where where if someone actually is interested in getting into movies, they'll do some research and say, hey, what's the best movie of all time? And a lot of things point to Citizen Kane. And then they go watch Citizen Kane with that expectation that they're going to come away from this thinking, yes, that is the best movie of all time. I would wager more than half of the time they come away from that movie for the first time, they're like, I don't get it.
That's a great analogy, honestly.
When you actually break Citizen Kane down, considering it was made in 1939 and released, or I think it was made between 39 and 40, it released in 41. At a time where there was no such thing as CGI, there was no such thing as, you know, doctoring film post-production the way that they do now. And they make that thing look as good as it does, and it's a phenomenal looking film photographically. There's a lot of that needs to be translated still.
Now, perspective is a problem, honestly. That's what
but see, it's also like if you're someone who, you know, your favorite movies are Goodfellas, The Godfather, and Fight Club, and then you go to Citizen Kane, you're like, okay, I'm going to watch the greatest movie of all time, you're probably going to feel a little shortchanged, like,
yeah,
Rosebud, whatever, dude.
I just feel that everyone should have learned their lesson on Aliens Colonial
Marines here.
Marines. So. And even like Division that came out recently, it's just like, you can't come to E3, you can't show off your game, and you say you're going to have all these things, and then people spend the $60 because they got hyped on the pre-order and the show-off, and then they get it home and it's not in the game. Now, if it's not in the game and you come out and say, okay, well, it's coming a week later with the next patch, fine. Or it's coming in a couple months, fine.
You have to address it at least.
You have to be upfront and address it. I don't think I've seen any articles of them coming out from Hello Games to address any of it. You've seen so many.
It's also only been out a week.
Doesn't matter.
The outrage happened before it even released to the public, from what I imagine. So
now,
a week is a long time.
But see, I think seeing something at the VGX in 2013 is basically like a great director coming out and saying, I have the idea for the greatest game or for the greatest movie ever, but I haven't written it yet. By the time they actually write it, and by the time they actually produce it and edit it, it's going to be different than what they originally thought.
But see,
That's
this is a problem.
The main guy of the game was
deal-
on Conan. He was on who's the guy with glasses?
Colbert.
Colbert addressing the game, and he's saying yes to things. You can
watch
go watch
the Angry Joe.
Angry Joe. You can watch the Gym Inquisition. They point out all the things that was promised probably in the last 2 months that are not even in the
But
game.
hey, this isn't a No Man's Sky only problem. This is an industry problem.
Yeah,
they keep
exactly.
over-promising, they keep over-hyping, and then they keep coming back and saying, "Oh, you know, when we promised you it would be out on this date, or when we promised you it would do this or do that." Well, never mind. We actually weren't sure. We just told you that. No,
Right.
They need to stop making promises that they can't keep, and then getting upset or being surprised when people are disappointed. How about you wait until you know when you're going to be able to release and what you're going to be able to release before you talk about what we're going to get. And I understand that there's marketing.
Agreed.
And this is kind of where glad where the review scores didn't come out like they usually do for this game. Usually the same day off or the next day. It took GameSpot, IGN, a few others. They spent a week before they released their, a couple days ago.
All of them came out
And they
this
got the average review. They got the score they deserved.
Yeah.
Average.
Yeah.
Let me be clear, too. I actually haven't played the game. Here's the thing. I bought it for my son because I'm not interested in it. I have looked at it like it's Minecraft, basically, and I've never been interested in that type of experience. I don't like procedurally generated. I don't like sandbox. I like story-driven narrative stories. But I bought it for my son, and he's super hyped. And I'll be honest with you, I think it was a worthwhile purchase for me personally because he loves it. He loves it because he loved Minecraft as well. And he wasn't overhyped. He wasn't overhyped about some of the false promises that were made, but the things that he was hyped about, they did accomplish. They did some technically amazing things. And if they would have just stopped overselling it, they would have made a great game that is going to be modified and made better in other titles going forward. And honestly, I agree with the Angry Joe review I saw. It shouldn't have cost $60.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like that game should have cost about $30.
Yeah,
honestly.
Well, and I'll disagree just because it gave me so far
40.
It's given me everything that I wanted. But I just hit a wall at a certain point, and I know that there's a door in that wall. I just have to find it. Now back to gaming lulls because we do it.
Jeez, I'm sorry about that, guys.
That's all right. Corey, you haven't talked on it.
Oh yeah.
You mean it's in terms of gaming lulls?
Yeah.
You're talking? I haven't said anything. Yeah, I feel like I hit these walls in gaming because I play games. I play them and I play them and I play them so much in a short amount of time. I try to fit so much in that sometimes I just feel like I get burned out a little bit. And I'll just say, okay, I'm just gonna put games down for a little bit. And sometimes it's a week. Sometimes, one time it was 6 months I didn't play a single video game. It's just like I love games. They're always going to be a part of my life. But sometimes you just need to do something different and get out and do something, or go to a movie, or I don't know, be a human being, go out and socialize with people,
do that?
Sometimes this, I get so stressed out at work and stuff that this is doing the shows with you and Adam and Brian and Joey and everybody else. That's my release, and sometimes I enjoy doing these shows and editing the shows and doing stuff like that more than I actually like playing the games themselves. This is how I relax. And sometimes playing games like let's take Destiny for example. I always feel like I have to keep up with it because of how how our raid group is and how far we have to be at this light level by this date so we can do the new raid, or and sometimes that stresses me out. That sometimes I'm just like, okay, I'm just gonna put games down for a while, because sometimes the gaming part of gaming is stressful, and even if you're playing something hard like Bloodborne or Dark Souls 2, like sometimes that gets to me, because let's face it, I'm not very good at video games anyway. But and sometimes it's just like a head clearing thing, like just a big reset button to take a couple weeks off. And yeah, sometimes depression. There before I met Sana, and like this was like a long time ago. There was something that happened in my life that was just like really, really tragic and almost killed me. But that was a time where I found games to kind of like pull me away from that, and like that was one of the hardest times of my whole life, and like the darkest points in my whole life. And I just like games helped me climb my way out of it. And now, like I would say I'm at the highest point in my entire life. I have good family. My fiance is great. I have great friends in you guys, and this is where games come into play, where like games make me happy again. It's the different moods you're in, the different aspects of life that change your perspective on games. And like I do prefer shorter experiences now too, or like a game that I can pop in, play for 45 minutes, an hour, feel like I accomplished something, and get out. I would love to sit down and play a 70-hour JRPG or a giant RPG like The Witcher.
It's difficult now. It's just so difficult.
Yeah, and it's like, well,
now it's harder to go. It's harder to, and this is where you sacrifice. Where it's just like you sacrifice sleep at that point.
Yeah,
which I can't do anymore.
Yeah, I can't.
I'll lose my job.
I'm 30. I'm 36.
I'm risking it. I'm risking it right now. I have to be up at 6 o'clock. I'm risking it right now.
I'm 35. I'm 36 this year, but sometimes you get lost in the game though, right? Like I was playing Tales last night, and
which one?
Tales of Soteria, and I'm probably like I'm close to the end. It's getting so good. And it was like 1:30 in the morning last night, where I'm just like, oh my god, I got work in a few hours,
I miss that so much. I haven't been lost in a game in years, in all honesty, because, and I don't know if it's because I have, like I said, my living room set up, but I've always got some kid coming behind me, or somebody saying daddy, or somebody saying do this, or so. The only time that I could game without that and really get immersed in an experience would be when everybody's asleep, but I'm too damn tired to stay up that late. It's hard. Sorry. Yeah, I kind of agreed with you there. Like, I really feel you on that one.
It is, and that's why I have my own space now. Like, it's kind of funny, like, where I'll tell people, like, back then, I'll go 20s, where you're like, I liked the 60-inch television. I liked being 10 feet away or 15 feet away, reclined gaming. Now I like to be 5 feet away, smaller TV, up close, computer right next to me, and just gaming. It's like my own office right now. This is what I prefer versus huge man cave now or whatever.
Adam, I was actually pricing small TVs today to put on my desk, because I think I prefer a smaller monitor in terms of like this. Like, don't get me wrong, I love this TV I bought a couple years ago. It's big. I love watching movies on it. But like, in terms of gaming, I kind of want to be like.
Well, I'm playing on to my right here. It's a 40-inch, just over 40-inch television. I got two 27-inch monitors in front of me, but it's like Adam, my perfect setup.
I like how your dog just like sat at the doorway.
Yeah, look at him. He's
got
the little Batman ears up.
Mommy, Daddy, when is someone gonna feed me?
Yeah, no joke.
What's gonna? I need food. I'm dying over here.
He wants to go out. I think it's.
I gotta poop.
With
I gotta
what you
poop.
guys were just saying, I actually, no joke, 6 months ago, my TV broke. I had a big, like, 55-incher or whatever, and my TV broke, and I ended up having to use one of our spare, like, little 32-inch TVs that used to be in one of the kids' rooms, and that was when I got really into Rocket League.
Yeah, yeah, you did.
I used to use it sitting right in front of me, like 10 inches away on my table, and I was like, this sucks. I can't wait to get a big TV back. This sucks. I got my big TV back. I was like, you know what? I kind of miss just being, right there in front of the TV. Like when I was a kid and you'd sit there, all up in, what's going on, It's so fun. I didn't even realize how much I enjoyed that more than having this big TV, because my big TV, if you can see, is up on my stand there. And is like, I don't know, visually.
All we see is Arianna's house logo, dude.
What? Seriously? I have the video off?
You have to stop motion. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say because my video's on. Whatever. Anyway, trust me, it's like.
You have a big TV on a stand. We get it.
Yeah. No, it's up on a fireplace, so it's like all elevated.
Oh, it's up on a fire. Oh, well, now you're gonna have to
Look at
prove
this
it.
guy.
Yeah, no, I have that downstairs too in my living room, and that's where I like to watch my movies. But
Movies, it's great.
When I watch my gaming now it's like I'm going to my office, and that's it.
Yep.
That's my space.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm
Go
saying.
to
Like,
my office and I'm playing games. Leave me alone.
now I have kids, eventually, they're too young right now, but this is my space. This is dad's space.
They're gonna get in there. They're gonna tear up all your amiibo.
We're gonna have
all your
anywhere
Disney
else in the room, the basement, the main floor, but like this is dad's space.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually
and
like.
my wife behind me that's gaming.
I was
Your
actually
wife's gaming
pricing-
too?
I have
Gamers are awesome.
Lee had Lee from Nerd Overdrive. You should go listen to that podcast too.
Yeah.
He's building
Maestro
me,
of the Master Race.
He's building me a PC, and I have two 21-inch monitors, and I was pricing a 27-inch monitor to go in the middle for, like, just for gaming, like for console gaming. So.
Speaking of the Phoenix Overdrive podcast, by the way, Arianna's House, our latest episode was actually a special episode dedicated
Breakfast
to
taco, and it was amazing.
the Rise Above Breakfast Taco, one of our best episodes, and honestly, my favorite recipe yet. Go check it out. It's in their honor, and it has all the links to find their stuff. Sorry.
We promote the hell out of them here, so.
Yeah,
There's another one.
that's actually their whole Extra Life commercial goes in front of this show.
Yep.
So
Nice.
I was watching the football stuff last night, the tournament or whatever for NFL. So he's a busy guy.
well. Hey guys, Corey here. The Digital Nerd Advocates are honored to be a part of Phoenix Overdrive's Extra Life team. Put your money where the miracles are. You can be a hero to the kids of Children's Miracle Network as fundraising for Extra Life continues through December 31st, 2016. National Game Day has been announced and will take place on November 5th, 2016. I will be joining Lee, Ray, and Becky of Nerd Overdrive, as well as others, in upstate New York to help celebrate and raise money for Children's Miracle Network hospitals. Remember that you do not need to select Phoenix Overdrive's primary hospital to raise money for. You can raise money for your local Children's Miracle Network hospital, wherever that may be. It's for the kids. Check out digitalnerdadvocates.com/pawnextralife for more details, as well as links to the Extra Life team page and the Uncharted, the Nathan Drake Collection PS4 bundle raffle information.
Can I go next?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
The reason why I want to go next is because it kind of
That's fantastic, John. How about we go to... No, I'm kidding.
The reason why I'm asking is because it piggybacks off of that, and it just kind of hit me, is how do you guys feel, and this is my question for you, kind of interviewing you as a team, how do you guys, because this is new to me, being a creator. I've never been a creative person. I've never created really anything. I've tried to play the guitar. I've tried to write. I've tried to do a lot of stuff to find a creative outlet and failed miserably. I found Arianna's house, and it's been the most amazing experience outside of something having to do with my family of my life. I absolutely love it. So how do you guys feel about creators doing the show? Why'd you start it? And kind of how do you feel about the community that you've built so far with Nerd Overdrive and Ray and everybody like that? And I'm sorry if this isn't specifically related to games, but I wanted to ask you guys that.
I'll go first here, but I used to do a lot of gaming with a lot of my local friends.
Does Adam sound like a robot to you?
Yeah, me too.
Does.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Now he's clearing up.
Adam, you sound like a robot.
Am I
Ah!
good? Am I good or
You
not?
sound like a robot falling offline.
Am I good or not?
No, it's the Ed problem.
Yeah,
is-
the Ed
This is
problem.
The Ed
There's
problem.
an Ed problem? Oh, crap.
Yeah, we call it the Ed problem, where randomly you'll sound like a robot and you'll have to drop out of the call and come back.
All right. Well, bad timing for him to be the first one to speak up, I guess.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I'll. Oh wait, Adam's right back in.
Hey,
Yeah.
Okay.
am I good now?
Yeah.
Yeah, go right ahead.
So as I was saying, like, yeah, I do my, and they all started playing different games, and I'm not a competitive player. I like co-op playing games, but I don't like playing like your Dota 2, your League of Legends, or anything like that. And a lot of my friends went that path, and that didn't appeal to me. And I played JRPGs or whatever. And then this game Destiny was coming out, and I had no one to play with. But
I heard
also-
that game's terrible.
and I also had no one to play with based on
You're
my
terrible.
on my schedule as being a dad. So as I say, I'm not playing multiplayers online anymore because I don't have time to raid, and I didn't want to play based on that. So here I am, got Destiny coming out, no one to play with, and I'm a dad. So when all these groups came up on the community Bungie website, I ran into Dads of Destiny. And this is where didn't know anyone. I joined the group and the webpage and signed up, started chatting with people, and then realizing this group's been around for a long time. They're big into many games, and I'm like, I just want to play Destiny, but I'm kind of enjoying this interaction on this website with these other dads that are like me in my schedule. And I got to know a good group of guys that I got to experience and play Destiny based on my schedule, and that could relate to the whole thing. You know, as Corey said, I'm in the middle of a raid, and next minute your kid just showed up because he's puking or whatever. You got to change that. Guys, I'll be back in 5 minutes, and everyone that's on that mic knows and completely understands what's going on, and there's no hate. And
Yeah.
and I'm going that and leading to that community. It got me to branch out. Hence, then I met Corey and got into his community and chatting, and got me to branch out and stuff like that. So, you know, it's part of that where you're just like I don't think you're ever alone, but like you kind of have to put yourself in an awkward situation
Yep.
to get to know people now that aren't around you socially, but you're going to talk to on the mic, and yeah, they're becoming good friends. So that's kind of been my life experience when it comes to dealing with an online community in the game.
That's really cool. I'm actually surprised it was so recent, honestly. That's a really fun story. I've been involved in the Facebook gaming groups for actually a couple of years now. So when you said you got into it when Destiny was coming out, I was kind of surprised. But at the same time, I kind of had the same experience. I don't know how I fell into it. I was listening to a podcast, Beyond, I think, at the time, and I was only semi a gamer. I didn't really game that much. I was in one of those gaming lulls, like we were talking about earlier, but I enjoyed the community so much. And still, like right now, I don't game a lot because of Arianna's house and a lot of other things going on in my life, but I've never left the communities of gamers that I found. And through those communities, and more to my question, I guess, is I found a lot of other creators, which has been amazing, you know, and starting Arianna's house, and I told you this before, Matt, starting Arianna's house, one of my biggest inspirations was you other guys who are out here doing these podcasts and stuff. You guys who are out here, you know, putting yourselves out there on the airwaves for other people to judge and other people to listen. And you're not, the Colin Moriartys of the world or the Greg Millers. You're just regular ass guys. And that was an inspiration. Like, well, no, if they can do it, I can do it too. Now I'm not very informed on gaming, probably as much as most other people. So I had to find a different avenue. But yeah.
And and I'm kind of the same way you are, John. Like I was in Beyond, and I was a fan of theirs, and in a gaming lull because I was originally an Xbox gamer, or not originally, but like, and that show actually introduced me to PlayStation exclusive IP, and then I'm like, you know what? Some of these sound really cool. I'm gonna check them out, and I ended up basically leaving Xbox for PlayStation. Not really as sort of like a fanboy thing, but like there were just interesting games there. Yeah. And then getting involved with that community, I think that's where you and I first talked, but it wasn't really anything significant.
We got to know each other in Platinum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when Platinum Achievements happened, I was invited by the admins, as you were, and all the people there, the 200 plus, I've played games with a lot of them, and some of them have actually become really close friends, yourself included. Like I hung out with you when you came back to Jersey.
You'd be welcome here.
I met Rob Rinaldi, Moose, and Matt Phillips came down to Philly from Canada to see a show, and he's like, "Hey, I'm going to be in Philly." I'm like, "We're hanging out." And he's like, "Yeah, man." And then he brought the wife as well, and that was a good night. And then Moose brought his wife up from North Carolina because he's actually from this area. And I actually met Ray from Phoenix Overdrive in Beyond. He and I were on each other's friends lists on PSN for like 3 years before we actually played a game together. And then when he started Phoenix Overdrive, he said, "Hey, I'm going to be playing Evolve." I'm like, "I'm going to be playing Evolve. We should play Evolve together." And we did, and all we did was make each other laugh for like 2 to 3 hours, and a friendship was born.
I've only played with him once. He's a good guy, though.
Oh man, he's great.
I think I was really drunk that time too, but he's
his laugh. When you get that man to laugh, you feel like life has given you
I think that's why I like him so much, because I was drunk and he was laughing quite a bit.
When you get him to laugh, it makes you feel better. Very rarely does that happen. But yeah, it's one of those things, and it's weird. Like the communities that I've found myself a part of, be it Digital Nerd, DNA, Phoenix Overdrive, Platinum Achievements, Fathers of the Grind. The people in there that overlap in those communities I'm friends with, but the people there that are new or that are just in those communities, there's no, like, one of the things I'll always say is that the people that troll you in those communities, they want to make fun of you, but they don't want you to feel bad for being made fun of. Mm-hmm. I mean, and Derek Teague and I have gotten into arguments about indie versus AAA on a couple of occasions, but it has never come to, "Hey man, you're a moron, you don't know what you're talking about."
Yeah.
It's always been like, "Well, I just don't like this." And I'm like, "Okay, I'm not trying to change your mind. I'm just trying to ask you questions." Yeah. And we've actually, developed a mutual respect that way.
And that's hard to find online and hard to build online, though, because it's so easy to just run into conversations where it turns into, "You're wrong and stupid, and you're a moron. You shut the hell up."
Getting back,
it's rare to find people that you mesh with enough to not get there.
Yeah, well, and then getting back to your question, like, I actually started content creating in 2005 when I started writing music reviews for a website.
Which you picked back up again recently.
I actually started here at DNA. Corey's letting me do that because I've missed it these past 6 years. I hope to. I'm working on a couple of pieces at the moment. One of the pieces I'm working on is a very large compilation. It's kind of hard to get through and write about, but I'm working on it. When I first started that, like, my first actual album review like it was up for 10 minutes before I got my first hate comment. I'm like, oh, that's what this is. Okay, good. And then, you know, every album review after that, I got more hate comments, and I actually started saying, you know what, I'm not going to listen to them, but at least they're reading, because they were actually citing specific sentences. Like one of the ones that just it stuck in my craw for a really long time. Yes, I'm from the Midwest, and I still use that expression.
Your craw. I'm sorry.
Yeah, craw is not a part of the human anatomy, just so you know. When they cited the fact that I misheard a lyric and cited it the way I heard it in my review, and they were like, you know, get some culture, you stupid American. I'm like, well, tell their producers to learn how to mix clearly so I can understand what the hell this dumb band is saying. But I never really responded. I think I've always sort of held on to that and wanted to respond to that guy, but whatever. But you know, creating is going to bring the hate. It's also going to bring people that are like, huh, maybe this isn't all that difficult. Now, that also creates just as many problems as it does opportunities. Because, let's face it, we're on the internet. We are all speaking into a wall of white noise of millions of other voices. And hopefully the ones that pay attention and we resonate with stick around and find, hey, maybe we're not as full of it as we think we are. Or at least I think I am.
I think you learn to, or like people that have been doing it a while, it just rolls off your back. You can't take it personal.
Oh no, I'm not talking about taking it personally. I'm not because like this was 11 years ago when I started getting hate on the internet. It's fine. That rolls right off me. But like if creating something is an itch that you need to scratch, you have to do it.
Yeah.
Like seeing like honestly, like when John was on our show in an episode that still has not been released and probably won't be because Chris Haar, when he said, because he actually said, he said, you know, you guys are like my inspiration. I'm like, I feel good about that because we inspired him to do something that is genuinely awesome.
Thanks, dude.
When I first, and I'll be honest, when you first talked about doing that on Facebook, I was like, I don't know how this is gonna go. But I'm never gonna say don't do that.
Yeah, I hear you.
Because that is your risk to take. That is your cliff to jump off of. And luckily, you stuck that landing in a way that is just amazing to watch.
I'm sorry about the dog in the background, by the way, but that means a lot, Matt.
That means somebody's home.
Yeah, my wife just got here.
But watching this, you know, and watching this from episode 1 and watching you change and evolve and get better, it's a beautiful thing, and I love watching it, and I'll continue to watch and I'll continue to support because it's cool. Like I don't cook a lot, but watching your videos, like, you know, maybe I should try cooking more.
Yeah, you messaged me that, and that
and it's the truth.
I told my wife about that too.
Yeah, well, you and Sammy make it seem like I don't mean this as any disrespect because what's about to come out of my mouth will come off as disrespectful, but you guys make it seem like any idiot can do this, and that's because you guys package it in a way that, like, hey, idiot, cook your own damn food.
Basically, that's the principle.
And you know, like one of your videos that resonated with me in a way that I did not expect was when you did Sean cooking eggs for the first time.
That was my favorite probably so
and
far.
You know, because like growing up in the Midwest, you know, I always wanted to learn how to be self-sufficient and learn how to take care of myself. Ironically, it was sort of my parents and sister that just sort of said, no, we'll do it. And so when I actually moved out, I realized how much I didn't know and how much I had to learn. So I had to sort of adapt and learn on the fly. And cooking was one of the things I didn't really learn till later. And when I saw Sean cooking those eggs for the first time, I'm like, that's good fucking parenting. because literally you're saying, hey Sean, because I know you're there watching him, but you're essentially saying, hey Sean, make these eggs. If you mess up, I'll help. But until you mess up, I'm letting you do it.
The really cool part about that, and what made me proud as a father too, by the way, and I just want to throw this in there, is he volunteered. He volunteered to make his sister's eggs, and I said, holy crap, this would be a great moment to catch on camera and share on our show. And part of the cooking show is I'm teaching them to cook, but I'm also kind of giving them an avenue to maybe do something new themselves, and that comes to YouTube. So, and they've been very open to joining me in making Arianna's house, and I'm trying to help them get comfortable in front of the camera. And he did not only a great job on the cooking, I think, but a great job in front of the camera. He was engaging. He knew how to talk. He didn't stutter. He didn't. Yeah, it was a great moment. And one of the joys of doing this show, the real joy, is that in 20 or 30 years, when I'm an old man, I'm going to get to look back and see that video, hopefully.
Yeah, and say, I watched that shit happen.
Yeah, exactly. Very cool moment, and I appreciate everything you said.
The one criticism I will say is get more than one mic on your show.
Oh yeah, I know. The sound
because I'll hear like in the intro when you guys are like you hear Arianna scream Arianna's house, and that warms my heart every time, I swear to God. But then the minute you say like, hey, we're doing this recipe that requires this, Sammy, what do we've got? And you hear
yeah, we're actually going to stop using the lapel
mic. Oh, really?
Mic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We're going to go back to the camp. Somebody suggested I use a lapel mic, which is, and they suggested it was actually Antonio Gillian.
Yeah,
he suggested I use a lapel mic. Yeah. Is it pronounced Gillian?
Yeah.
He suggested I use a lapel
mic.
Oh,
man, you're Puerto Rican. You know this.
Not Puerto Rican. But anyway.
Espanol, senor.
Yes, son. With the lapel mic, his suggestion was because I'm the one who's usually talking, but yeah, I noticed that too. Whenever anybody else has anything to say, even though it's rare, you can barely hear them. So we're going back to just using phone audio until I can afford a better sound solution. But
like I know a good sound solution. We could talk later. Talk later.
Because I can't use a stand mic because I'm up. I'm
moving
around.
Can't.
I'm cooking stuff. I need a good solution that I can afford.
Yeah, and I don't know any concrete sources, but I might be able to do some research for you. So
all right, I'd appreciate it, man.
No problem. What about you other creators here, Corey?
Yeah, well, this was kind of like a long road for me.
What do you mean?
And he took a wrong turn into Shaniquaville. That's what he did.
Oh,
I can't wait to hear this.
Oh, man. Well, I mean, it's not really like a funny story or anything. It's just like I've always drawn, I've always painted, I've always been fascinated with like people who create things out of like I have books on like Jim Henson and all these other creators that are like the people I've looked up to since I can remember, like 5, whatever. And I saw the Dark Crystal and
Dark Crystal rules.
Never Ending Story, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the original movie. And I thought Jim Henson was the greatest man who ever walked the face of this earth. And so, like, I've always been experimenting with stuff like that, and I've always been drawing and painting and stuff like that. And it's always been something that I've wanted to do is create stuff, but I've always wanted to move past the like still images that I've drawn and painted. I've always wanted to, do something. And so I was like, well, I like video games. Maybe I'll create a game. And then I looked into like what it takes to create a video game, and I was like, oh, well, I'm stupid. That's never going to happen. So I had decided to start writing.
Requires math. It's weird.
I know. I can't
It's not something you just do on your own. You need a
yeah.
company and a team, yeah.
I don't math, I don't program, I don't do any of this stuff. So I was like, oh, well, I guess I'll just, and then I started writing, and then I started pondering the idea of doing a podcast or something like that, because I had started listening to all of IGN's podcasts, and then from there I found like the spin-off podcasts, and then from there I found more podcasts, and it was just like this long rabbit hole podcast listening to. I was like, well, I want to do that, but I was at a point where I was like, well, I don't really have anybody to do it with, because my friend Brian, who I do our other show with now, he was living in Toledo at the time, and I was living here in Akron, and so we kind of didn't have like the technology or anything to do it, and like he was off doing his own thing, and we kind of lost touch for a while, and so I just kind of just put the idea aside, and then about 3 years ago, I started watching I started watching a bunch of YouTube stuff. And I was like, well, I want to do that. So I started experimenting with stuff and researching what I could do to put stuff on YouTube. And I was like, man, this is kind of expensive. This is going to be a long road before I can get the stuff that looks half that decent. And so I started coming up with ideas with this guy that I worked with. He was really into the Twitch scene at the time, and like we started pondering ideas. Do we do a podcast? Do we do a live Twitch show? Like, what do you want to do? And then we kind of this was the first attempt at DNA. We tried it, and like he got into like some trouble, and he started he became an alcoholic. He ended up having to go to classes. He got DUIs. He went off the rails. So I was like, crap.
Shit.
So that idea floundered a little bit, and then
I mean, it was successful for the time that you had it. I mean,
Yeah.
because like at least on show, you only had one.
it's true. Still on our channel if you want to watch it.
Wait. So wait, this happened actually on an episode?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
This was the first run of the DNA podcast was 29 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And that 29th episode, we had Nerd Overdrive on. It was our first kind of big featured guest.
Yep.
And it got really out of control. To the point where, like, we kind of just ended the show. Like, and
you guys record live, so...
Yeah, it was like, we were doing it on Twitch, too. It was a live Twitch stream.
Oh, wow. So there's not even, like, the hope of editing and shit.
Like, editing wasn't gonna save you.
Yeah, and
That's
it was just like this, and then that kind of just flatlined us completely. Like, it just totally just killed any progress we had made in terms of like growing the community, growing our show, doing spin-off stuff. Like, it just killed it, and we didn't have. What?
You also persevered for like a couple of months, sans show.
What do you mean?
Well, it seemed like after that happened, the community was well intact, and the community still stayed.
Wait a minute, do you guys have a Facebook group or something?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Digital Nerd Advocates.
Send me an invite, Matt. What are you waiting for? All right.
I'll do it, but like, and you know, everything stayed fine.
Yeah, which was honestly
which was
unfortunate.
Which was fortunate. I mean, you can't.
Not only was it fortunate, it was surprising at how like this stayed together. Like this community that we had kind of built and kind of worked hard to create stayed, and like I got emails and messages and tweets that said, "Hey, are you guys going to do another podcast soon?" And like I couldn't like answer them, and like I was like, "Yeah, we're working on something. We've had a little bit of a setback. Like we're coming back," and we took off like 2 months.
Yeah, they're gone for a while.
And so we regrouped, and me and my friend Brian were doing a Destiny podcast at the time, which we still kind of do like a spin-off It's not really a full podcast anymore. It's more of like a 15-minute breakout video for our YouTube called DNA Weekly Strike. And that's kind of where we picked up. Like, we were like, okay, we still have this one thing that people like, and we still have this one thing that we can build from, and let's do that. And then he decided, I was like, do you want to do like a full-on podcast? And he's like, well, what do I do? Because the only thing he knows how to do is talk about Destiny. And so I was like, dude, I'll send you show notes. I'll show you the plans. I was like, I'm just going to read basically a topic, and we're just going to talk about it. And it'll be like 5 or 6 of them. And for a while, it was just me and Brian, and then Joey
showed up.
Joey came back. Yeah, full time. And then, Cameron came on, and we started doing our spin-off stuff. Mm-hmm. Joey's Toast to Beer, which was a great show, which we're actually bringing back, and I'm really excited to do.
This is the beer focus show?
Yeah.
Oh, I need to see this. All right, awesome.
And
Joey knows his stuff. It sucks that he's been out of commission the way he has.
Yeah.
'Cause Joey knows his stuff about beer.
Yeah, we had that. We had Secrets of the Stash, which was Cameron's movie kind of spin-off show. We started the movie podcast. We kept Weekly Strike up. We started growing again, and that was really, really exciting. And then Cameron got a night job, and Joey had back surgery.
Yeah.
And everything that was going like this all of a sudden went back like this.
That sucks.
And like it just felt like, man, I need to catch a break. And then me and Matt tried this show once before, and that kind of failed the first time.
It didn't. I don't think it failed.
Okay,
I don't think
maybe fail's the wrong word.
Well, see, the thing
Didn't take off?
No, maybe like, it wasn't the vision you wanted to start.
No, I actually.
No?
Well, see,
No?
the thing is, I think what we're doing now carries on that vision very seamlessly.
Yeah.
The difference was, life got in the way.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, because I know that when we started this, it was you, Todd Oxtra, and I.
Yeah.
And
Todd Oxtra, really?
Yeah, and we wanted to keep it us three because we all gelled in a way that I don't think any of us really expected to gel, to be honest with you. But and then months went by, and then I was like, we got to do this again. I was messaging Corey, he was messaging me, and then I said, why don't we just do this? We try and get Todd back. Todd was not as available as he would have, as any of us would have liked him to be, and then we said, well, let's just bring others in, and we did, and it's actually gone relatively well, I think.
Yeah, I mean, to be completely honest, like, this is, out of all the shows that we do, this is definitely at the top of the list that I look forward to every week. Like, I've brought Matt, I brought you into the fold. Like, this, like, the only thing that kind of frustrates me is, like, I want all of us to be sitting at a table, like, having, like, I mean, like, you've seen our DNA podcast, how we do that at a table, like, that's the one thing I wish we could do.
It looks like the Last Supper on video.
Well, I will say this from an outside perspective. I've, as I mentioned earlier, gotten to know quite a few people in our community who have their own versions of podcasts and stuff like that. I love the fact that you guys do video. I'll tell you that much. I love it for some reason. I want to see your face. I want to see your reaction. I want to see how you feel. And yeah, it sucks that it's over Google Hangouts and you've got issues with latency and lag and stuff. But and then also, I'm a huge fan of YouTube, and I don't like going to a bunch of different formats to listen or watch things. So since YouTube's my home, you've definitely got a follower in me. I don't have a lot of time right now in my life, but I'll definitely be following you guys. I love this. I love your format. I love how you guys do it. You guys seem like great dudes. You already know I love you, Matt, but everyone else too.
And like,
virtual hug, John.
And like we're at a point again where like we're starting to see growth. Like, you know, Matt, you and I are doing stuff. Adam, you and I are doing Dual Shocked and planning some cool things with the PlayStation section of the YouTube channel now. Like, I still need to send you that email that I told you I was going to send you yesterday, and I didn't.
And Ed's doing everything.
Ed's doing
everything.
Our Nintendo and Xbox show with us, and like, you know,
Ed who? Would I know Ed?
Edward Varnell. He does a show called Optional Opinion, and he's also part of a podcast called World 1-1, where they just did this really hilarious episode where they did commentary on The Wizard.
The movie?
Yeah, the movie, and it was pretty funny. And
That's funny.
And like Adrian, his partner from those shows, comes on our Nintendo show and does stuff with us from time to time, and like, I think getting more people involved was the right decision, and like, you know, it's better to have more than 2 or 3 people's perspectives on things rather than like, you know, me, Brian, and Joey sitting at a table and trying to do 100 different things, and like after a month we're super burned out and are just like, well, how do we keep this going? How do we keep it fresh? Like, what do we need?
It kind of gets stale. I hope this isn't, you guys won't mind this and criticizing another creator, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but I've seen a lot of complaints lately about the Kinda Funny crew, for example, and I've seen a lot of complaints from people who used to be big fans because I think they're kind of getting tired of what you were just kind of addressing, the same opinions and kind of the same expectation every show, kind of.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of what you're talking about, where you're bringing in people, you're changing things up, bringing in new perspectives and stuff like that. I do think that that's a positive. Like, I'm not putting them down. Obviously, they're doing great.
And that's kind of what like all of our like the DNA podcast will always be me, Brian, and Joey. Like, that's just how that show's going to be, unless we have interviewed a game developer, an independent game developer about 6 months ago. But other than that, unless it's something big like that, like, it's always going to be me, Joey, and Brian on that show. That's our show. That's how we kind of want to do things. But this show is where me and Matt get to bring on different people with different perspectives, and that's how we keep the show fresh. We bring on different guests. We bring on Adam. We love you. We bring him on from time to time. He's been on multiple times. John, I'm sure you're going to come back multiple times.
I'd love to.
You know, Todd's going to come back. You know, we pull in these different people from these different shows that have different perspectives on things, and that's what keeps this show fresh, and that's what keeps Dual Shocked fresh. You know, we had Josh Brandt from Life of Gaming on that show a couple weeks ago, which, you know, that I love what he does over at PlayStation Enthusiasts too. Like, he's doing cool things. You know, there's and like
his consistency is key, I think, with an audience, though, right? Like,
right.
Well, I think you have different audiences. I think that it's great that you maybe offer both, where you have a podcast where it's the same crew every week, or however often you do it, and then maybe one where you change it up and kind of fits different preferences, maybe.
Yeah.
Or maybe I'm putting my foot in my mouth. I don't know.
No,
I'm not referring to consistency of people.
You're making drunken sense, John.
Of the show, people are coming back and expecting, hey, every Saturday there's going to be an upload of this show, and the show they're going to turn into is always going to have a different bunch of guys, or it's going to have the same 2 or 3 guys. But I think consistency is key. Now, from back to the original question, like, that's where like, for me, like, when I started just randomly doing Twitch streaming, and I started buying the Elgato gear, and this was just for me. This is not for anyone else or to grow big, you know. And I came up with my own handle name and logo, and this is where I started branching out, and this is how I met Corey and the gang and started watching your content and commenting on your YouTube videos, and eventually, you know, I shot you, you know, I did your Destiny raids around time. It didn't really know you as well, but then I just randomly shot you a Facebook message when I'm like, how do you feel about this? Talking PlayStation. And this was way back in probably November, December last year.
Yeah.
Where, we were talking about this to a few months ago, where now we're making it happen. And especially for someone like me with a semi-busy lifestyle, you're able to bring yourself in as your creative idea, bring in smaller parties to your other shows to help it grow. I mean, everyone has lives, but to me, it's like as long as you're bringing that content, I think people will keep coming back, and they'll enjoy like guests coming in and out. I think that's a good positive thing.
Yeah, and like even like we were, not to like talk a lot about our YouTube channel or anything, but like in the last like 2 weeks since we started, like Adam, ever since we started both promoting DualShock, we started doing some Overwatch stuff. Joey and I have been doing some Overwatch stuff. Matt, this show, we've seen some significant growth, and I think the multiple perspectives and the consistency of putting shows out at certain times every day, or certain content up at
Just
certain
a variety
times.
of content, honestly. That's huge.
Yeah, and like that draws in different crowds, and we're seeing that, and like that's exciting as a content creator. And like I was sitting on my laptop in December of, what is this, 2016, so 2014, I want to say. Like I was like, okay, I'm gonna start a blog because I need some kind of artistic outlet that's not gonna take very long, and I called it, my last name is Dierig, so I called it the D-Pad Games Blog.
Awesome.
And I was like, I'm gonna write about.
Why didn't you keep that?
Because it's too generic. Everybody like you can't. You search on iTunes for D-Pad, like 47 podcasts come up of the same name.
Yeah, probably.
And so actually, I want to give James and Josh of Life of Gaming the shout out for coming up with helping me come up with the name DNA. So like, I mean, so
those two guys.
It is a very clever name, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have ever come up with it. That was just like, I mean, they gave me my first podcast break by inviting me on their show because they read one of my blog posts. And like I was very grateful for that, even though that show really, like, I sucked on that show. Let's be honest. I'd never talked on the radio or podcast before, and I was like, I didn't know them very well at the time, and I was just like, I don't know what to do. I don't know, like, and they were trying out their video stuff for the first time. I was like, I don't know what to do. What do I do with my hands? Like,
you're like Ricky Bobby. You're just going,
what do I do? And like
the car drove real good. The car
it drove real good.
We're real happy with how we did.
Drove real good. And like ever since then, that's when I was like, okay, I got to practice talking. So that's when I bought an Elgato, and I started doing some Let's Plays for that because I wanted to try out videos for a YouTube page. And that YouTube page still exists. It's Rogue Spartan 4 now. It's a Rogue Spartan 4 page, but like, yeah, it just kind of, I never would have guessed that, I would be doing this 2 years later with people that I've never met in person, but I consider some of my closest friends. And it's just like, I would honestly say that Matt and Adam, besides Brian and Joey, like getting to know you guys, the Nerd Overdrive guys and the people that we brought on our show are closer friends than anybody in my real life.
You know what? I'm kind of right there with you on that.
Except Sauna.
Well, she doesn't count. She has to be my best friend. So
yeah,
she has to be.
I know.
No, but I'm kind of right there with you, dude. I've never been a creator, and I've only started recently. Arianna's house is 2 months old. We release once a week. We've grown to, I think, 143 subscribers now. By the way, thank you, Corey, for the 143rd subscriber. And
I was in the first 50.
I know you were, buddy. I think you were in the first 10, maybe.
But
the truth is, and like I actually made a post about this earlier, I don't hold it against any of my family or friends, but this is the first time that I've been a creator, and I was expecting more interest and support from family and friends. But all of my interest and support comes from people that I've never, well, with the exception of maybe Matt and Rob Rinaldi, that I've actually had I've had the pleasure of meeting them in person. I get so much support. I'm sorry, I just have to shout this out to a few people because I know that they're going to watch this. Jose Jimenez.
Oh, Jimenez is great. Paul Laughlin's great.
Bruce Kluel, Jesse White has done it. Frank Clark has been. I mean, I know I'm leaving out names because there's like 10 or 20 more people that I could name who I've never met in person, but I talk to every day and have supported me every step of the way. Every step of the way. It's been amazing.
It's funny because when me and Brian were stuck on doing Weekly Strike, Frank Clark was one of our bigger supporters. You know.
Oh yeah, he loves Destiny. That's right.
Maybe second.
Big Frankie.
Maybe only second to Adam, and like we need to get Frank on the show at some point. But it was funny because like me and my fiance went to Disney World. And we actually met Frank and his wife at Disney World.
That's amazing.
And we were both wearing like Destiny T-shirts. And it was just like it was the coolest thing. And like we went to Canada and we were gonna try to meet up when we drove back through Buffalo because he lives in Buffalo, but we didn't get a chance. Like our schedules just missed. But yeah, it was just it's weird. Going out in public, and this has happened to me like 3 times, I think, going out and like seeing someone that knows you from watching your YouTube stuff, and like you never like would think that's just like, oh, that's
a new experience. The world is changing, man.
This is a thing now, I guess. Yeah. People are just gonna walk up to you and say,
there are people
hey.
I've never met in person who know more personal details about my background and my life than family members. Honestly, and I've never met them in person.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a brave new world, or crazy new world at least.
And just think, John. Just think. You remember when Matt Phillips and I talked to you about Midnight Marauders?
Oh Jesus Christ! Don't bring that up.
I was Twitch streaming at the time.
No shit.
Yeah.
That went out.
That went out.
Thanks for the warning, asshole.
I mean, better 6 months late than never, right?
The full disclosure.
Did I not have private mode on or whatever? Damn it.
I don't know. Moose always does whenever I'm streaming, so usually like the first hour we're streaming, I'm talking to myself.
Oh, okay. I think I've only recently turned it on, so I'm pretty sure it would have been defaulted off.
Probably. That's fine.
Yeah. Thank God. Guys, revoked my black card.
No, you brought it back with Uptown, baby.
Yeah.
But... like, well, and, you know, it's funny you brought up, like, family interest and things. When I became a music critic, I couldn't have been happier doing that thing because one of the things that kind of helps me get through life is music in general. Not because every day an album or a song saves my life, because that's kind of dumb. But I just it creates a pulse and a rhythm to my day that I just don't want to live without. An artist that is not necessarily among my favorite, but still very important to me is Michael Jackson.
Dude.
I know. Calm down. When my parents got divorced, because they got divorced when I was like 5. And my mother met her. Well, my mother sort of acquainted herself with her second husband. When I met him, I was sitting in my grandma's kitchen in Dukes of Hazzard pajamas and eating ho-hos, and I had a Walkman on, and I was listening to Michael Jackson's Thriller.
Now, when you say Dukes of Hazzard pajamas, do you mean Daisy Dukes in a flannel shirt tied up?
Confederate flag
You know,
on the back.
you choose your own fantasy on this one.
Oh yeah. Corey said he can draw. I want to see this.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's me
He's
with
5.
these sunglasses and just me going as a 5-year-old in Daisy Dukes. Anyway, and when I met the person who would become my mother's second husband, all I talked to him about was Thriller. When I was a music critic, Michael Jackson passed, and one of the best pieces I've ever written on Mixdown.com was a retrospective on Michael Jackson and the music video. I recognized early on that my mother didn't really care about modern music. That's fine. I wanted her to read that specific piece. And to my knowledge, she never has. Now, I didn't care if she didn't read a review about Grizzly Bear's Yellow House. I didn't care if she didn't read a review about TV on the Radio's Return to Cookie Mountain. I didn't care if she didn't read a review about Animal Collective's Merriweather Post Pavilion. But the one that I thought she could relate to was this one. And she was like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. It's really long. So I know about I understand.
Did you see the post that was on my wall today on Facebook? Yeah, about
I haven't looked at Facebook in like 3 days, dude.
I hope you guys don't mind. This is a far departure, and if you want, after I'm done, I will no longer talk. But I actually read something that's really applicable to this conversation, and I shared it on my wall because it was just a comment from somebody else to somebody else, encouraging them to keep on going with YouTube, because I joined a few YouTube groups to kind of find a new community and gain support, and I've made like 10 new friends in the past couple of weeks because of it, and this just really hit home for me, and it kind of addresses what we're talking about. So it said, so after reading several more comments, I wanted to chime in on this again. I have been a creator in some capacity all my life. I have 2 degrees in music and have traveled the world with ensembles and different bands. During all of this, my closest friends were never the ones that supported me the most. It used to bother me, but eventually I realized something that I found interesting. When you're in a creative state, you are rarely the same person that those people see on a regular basis. Being creative is incredibly vulnerable. You're putting yourself out there. It's part of you that people don't see every day, and sometimes makes people uncomfortable. You would think that people would simply look at your endeavors and be happy because that's what you would want to see. However, it's rare that people can differentiate, let alone understand the creative you from the everyday you. I wouldn't let this get to you. Just focus on making the best content that you can. Your audience is out there. If you commit to making an excellent product, let your friends be your friends, but most importantly, don't let them affect what your heart is telling you to do in creating your content. I hope this helps. It was such an amazing, just random comment in a conversation that I actually started. It was based on one of my posts. I was asking people what's their biggest struggle right now, and somebody kind of jumped in saying, my family's not supporting me on YouTube. Nobody likes my posts, and I've been trying to help this person for some time to reformat the way she posts it, redo the way, because I feel what she's saying. Like, it hurts when the people that you think should care don't care. But that post kind of explains something that I think is real, is that the people don't understand what you're doing. Mm-hmm. If they're not being creative, they don't understand what it is. Because I didn't. I sure as hell didn't before I started Arianna's house. But then all of a sudden just something clicked in me, like, wait. And if you've noticed, Matt, I've started sharing other people's stuff, not because I want them to share mine. But
yeah, it's never a like for like situation. I'm not going to share something that, I mean, I don't expect anybody to share my stuff because I shared theirs. I don't want that.
Yeah.
And I'm terrible at self-promotion at best because I
agreed. By the way, I didn't even know you were on this damn show.
I know.
You're one of my friends.
I'm bad. I'm terrible. I know. Corey, I'm terrible at this. I'm sorry.
I know. I even tweet at you when the show goes out.
Yeah. Wait, I'm on Twitter?
What? if it doesn't play music on Instagram, Matt's not posting it.
I needed it 15 seconds at a time. But like I'm always going to share what I like. And I've on my own show, Platinum Achievements, I've taken some criticism for this because I don't promote our show, and I've said, I'm not good at this because I don't know how it works, and I feel like our audience happens rather than rather than the process. You know what I mean? I want it to just happen rather than force it. And I know that's probably a fool's errand, but that's just sort of the way I see it. And if Phoenix Overdrive, does one of their shows and I like it, I usually share. There's some of their. I'm not gonna lie, I love those guys. They're like they're family to me at this point because I've ruined their show from day one, and I'm happy to have done it. They'll tell you that. There are some of their shows where I don't share. But a lot of them I do. John, there are some of your shows that I don't share, but a lot of them I do.
But you, trust me, how much that means. Because, you don't have to share everything.
Exactly.
I don't share everything for everybody, but
exactly.
There are people who haven't shared anything.
Mm-hmm.
Or even given me a like, or even acknowledged that it exists. So to have people who, at least every once in a while, are like, hey, I want to check out and see what you're doing. Hey, I happen to like this, and do something to where you're made aware of it, it means a ton. Means a ton. And then I've got others, like Jose and Paul, who know what my goals are, and literally just are helping me promote. Like, dude, if I ever blow up, I'm bringing them on as my marketing that's my marketing team, because they just share shit that I actually never expected them to share, because I started posting Instagram photos. That's how this all started. I actually started posting Instagram photos to Facebook of our meals at home, and people were like, holy crap, dude, you guys are eating some great food. And then I was like, all right, well then I'll take their
When you
photos.
started doing that, that was the first time I said, hey, can I move in?
Yeah, exactly. And then I was like, wait, I have always loved being a performer. I used to be in the military. And when I was in the military, I discovered that I have a passion for performance. I did narrations, public speaking, retirement events, things of that nature. I performed at the World Series, 2006 World Series in Colorado. I was the honor guard leader, on the field. So, but when I got out of the military, there's no job that exists.
Yeah. Can I apply to performer?
Yeah, can I apply
as
a military performer who has a nice voice, can read scripts? Like, maybe if you want to go be a Hollywood actor, but guess what? I got 3 kids. I'm not going to Hollywood to try and be an actor, right? And just, there was this moment, and it was like, holy shit, we do make really good food. We've been to other people's houses for food, and they don't have the range of meals that we do, and they don't have the passion that we do for trying something new and just taking a shot, and it comes out great. And then I added that with the fact that I love performing and talking and being in front of people, and I can stand in front of a crowd of thousands and not shed one bead of sweat. So yeah, it was just kind of a let's get this done. It was a lightning strike moment, so I hope I can make it work.
Yeah, I
think you're doing fine.
Every time I see somebody post something of theirs, I always share it. I always share it if I see it. If I'm scrolling through my Facebook feed, every time Todd posts Secret Friends Unite podcast, I share it. Every time Nerd Overdrive pops up, I share it. Every time something Platinum Achievement comes up, even though I haven't really seen it lately, I share it. Adam, when you're Twitch streaming, I share it.
I'm always adding the handle too for DNA, because it's I want to push the name too for people to branch out to the other content too, right?
Yeah, and so like every time I see somebody that's created something, like I'm gonna share it, and like
if they're a friend, right? I mean,
yeah,
I can understand where Matt's coming from, and I kind of agree in a lot of ways, but I can understand what you're saying as well.
Yeah, and like that's like the whole premise of what our community group was built on, and like there's like our community group is for creators to find, not only share their content, but to collaborate with people, to find people to collaborate with, to comment on other people's stuff, and like hopefully they'll share that stuff the same way that I share their stuff. And like it's crazy because there is a respect in the group where like sometimes you get in these groups where it's about like, you know, post your YouTube videos here and people just spam the group with their stuff. But somehow in our group, like the people that share their stuff have a respect for the group and don't saturate it with content. There's conversation about games. There's there's so much respect in that group for, you know, there's discussions about what's happening in the industry. There's content sharing. There's people coming up with ideas and sharing it with people. It's crazy, and it's awesome. So
I can't wait to get to know more about your community, in all honesty, and I'm honored to be on the show before actually really becoming a part of the community. But I'll tell you this much: I'm very happy because everything that we've talked about and what you guys, kind of what your thinking is, and all of that. Yeah, I am definitely a big fan. So
yeah, and like I'm glad like there's someone new in the community that does something like. Yeah, the focus of DNA mostly is games, but like, you know, Todd's show is a lot of it's about TV shows and comic book movies and comics, and you know, to have something different like food in the community is going to be awesome. Like,
holy snap!
Oh jeez.
Hey, it's Ed. All right.
And he's muted.
He is muted. It's because it's the Edward. It's the robot. The Ed effect.
Is he gonna be Robo Ed now?
I don't know.
I hope not. What is with the cop glasses?
Edward Varnell, everybody.
Oh. You're under arrest, Ed.
Special guest.
Cheers, buddy.
Listen, all y'all, it's sabotage. What?
A white guy arresting a black guy. That's new.
What's the chocolate glasses?
I don't know where you're going.
I'm glad you made that joke and not me.
Oh, man. Okay, all right. I'll just take these off then.
Oh, man.
Hello, everybody.
Hi,
How's it going, Ed?
Hi, Ed.
I'm John.
I'm doing good.
Ed, John, Ed.
Oh, man.
The ratio of black people has now been raised to 2. Yay!
It's not 1-to-1. It's 1-to-1.
Matt is one of my good friends who's known me for forever and thought I was Puerto Rican. Damn it, Matt. How many times do I have to post the Jesse or Al Sharpton meme for you to understand that I am a black man? Well,
then why'd you tell me you were Puerto Rican then?
No, I grew up around a lot of Puerto Ricans, dude. And I love
Puerto Rican. You told me you were Puerto Rican.
No, I told you that I wanted
the first time we played Rocket
and do other things with a lot of Puerto Rican girls. And I ate a lot of Puerto Rican food.
That's valid.
Yeah.
I mean, you told me you were Puerto Rican.
All right. Well, you know me, and I was probably drunk. So don't listen to things that I say when I'm drunk. Because I have claimed to be Puerto Rican, Guatemalan.
But you were drinking Bud Light Lime. How drunk could you have been?
You're a dick. Anyway, it's nice to meet you, Edward.
Nice to meet you.
Okay, so we've been doing this a while.
That's not true.
Adam, it's your turn, sir.
My turn. I thought someone was I thought my 20 questions was my turn.
Okay, do you want to just go to 20? Want to just go to 20
Can
questions?
I
I
ask
want to acknowledge that I had a really good topic, by the way. That was a good conversation.
Yeah, it was a good conversation. I
mean,
agree.
There's been shows where we've literally done one topic for 2.5 hours. So.
Yeah.
I love it.
We've also done 2.5 hours on Corey's life and his choices.
Yeah.
I thought those are two good two good subjects. So I think
Would I be able to ask a quick question?
Ed, what's your question?
What do you want, Ed?
Fantastic. 20 questions, Corey.
Before y'all get to 20 questions, just a quick question. Do you guys think that an indie developer could ever become a third party? And if it does happen, who do you guys think would be a good third party from being an
indie developer becoming a third party?
Yeah.
Does the team that developed No Man's Sky still count as an indie developer?
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
yeah, they do. Yeah,
Then they could. I could see them getting brought on for the technology that they brought on to Sony. I mean, they're getting a lot of hate right now, but as we discussed earlier in the show, what Sony obviously took them on and said, "Hey guys, no, we want this on our platform, and we want to support you and help you get." And I guarantee you that had something to do with the problems that then arose with No Man's Sky. But if they made the right deal to where they still have the rights to the technical things that they were able to accomplish, and I don't think it's deniable from a developer perspective that it's impressive. I could see them becoming a legitimate third party.
Third party? Okay.
Or even first party.
It depends on what you consider indie. Are you talking like small team indie? Because technically Bungie and Insomniac are both indie developers.
Well,
but by that token, Rockstar's an indie developer, and it's just not the same thing.
Like Insomniac is second party. I'm talking indie, like they only got digital releases on consoles. And sometimes
we got into this debate in another. I'm sorry, we got into this debate in one of my Facebook groups, and I just want to mention this. You get into so much trouble trying to define some of this stuff. It's so crazy. Trying to define. Oh no, that's not an open world game. That's an RPG. Talking about The Witcher. It's both. It's both. It's neither. It's something. It's its own thing. Oh, it's so hard.
I think I brought that up too. Where to me, like me personally, where we should be dropping the word indie.
Yeah, these are just games. We talked about this on DualShock, I think.
They're small independent games that sometimes get the exposure. Like the difference between like the fallback when it comes to digital is marketing. You lose that marketing unless somebody is pushing it heavily on when you log into the PlayStation Store and it's on the front page and you see it.
I can see first party other.
Yeah, like to me they're just games, and this is where we go back to the previous questions in the show where community and other shows that you follow and beyond, Colin and Greg when they were back with IGN, that's how they got me to play other games on the Vita that I wouldn't have even heard of, like Oli Oli or Danganronpa, games like that. Like I probably wouldn't even heard of these games or checked out unless they talked about them. And these are just indie games, as they called them at the time. But right now, to me, it's just a game.
Yeah. I think indie in the sense that financial wise, they don't have a lot of money like a majority or other third party games. Like they don't have to go to Kickstarter or anything to help create their project. They're able to just be able to make something and be like, you know what, this is our studio. Even if we don't sell a lot and don't make enough money back, we still have enough in the bank to make another game.
I'm not gonna lie, I completely get where you're coming from, Edward. Mm-hmm. I just think that it's very vague. Like there are some examples of exactly what you're talking about where it's obvious this is what you're talking about. There are certain studios. I'm not informed enough, but like the people who made Ori and the Blind Forest, right? That was supported by Microsoft, but that was an indie studio made up of, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Moon Studios.
And then there's some other games where they didn't have. That one had the financial budget, but then there are other games where it was the complete opposite. They didn't have the financial budget, but they still put out a quality product, and it was probably the same experience as something like Ori and the Blind Forest. Think of Rayman, for example. Rayman Origins.
I mean, that for a lot of people's definitions was an indie game. I don't know. I think it's a really vague, ambiguous definition. It's hard to nail down.
I think when you're not connected to, when you don't have the major push, I think just like you said, Adam, when they don't have the major push for like PR and could be able to put out ads and have a Super Nintendo box and do all of this stuff that third party and first party are able to do.
And then I just want to add to that, and that's is why people have a hard time, and especially myself, is the price point. And that word indie seems to throw off a lot of people. It's just like, is it a $10 game? Is it a $30 game? Is it a $40 game? Is it a $60 game? And usually AAA games are 60 or more, right? And I would consider an indie game anything from $10 to, I don't know, $40, and it could be anywhere in between there. But
part of
as
the
a
problem
whole,
with No Man's Sky.
And I can't even say, this is where I have a hard time with people saying, like, in time. Just because it's a 10-hour game doesn't mean that AAA game can't be $60.
Right.
Because to me, it's all about experience and what you're getting out of that game and what they're bringing to the table. Just because it's a pixelated game and whatever, but a game can give you an overall experience of gameplay and enjoyment at the value, and it's whatever that individual or publisher feels that their game is worth. And if it sells, and I think there's sales and there's surveys that have gone out to try and prove this, but I think that word indie is just going to go away.
Well, I think at this point where when you think about indie and third party, when you think of third party, you think of a big team of like 100+ people, big buildings. They're able to do, I guess, more production, have more, kind of like wow moments, and be able to not say deliver a full experience of a video game, because indie games could do or offer that too. But a team like 500 people making Grand Theft Auto, compared to 7 people making Shovel Knight.
Would you think generation? Would you think generation has a lot to do with that?
Here's the thing.
I need to say on this one.
It's my turn.
Go ahead.
Now, your question was, is there an indie developer that can become third party? That's your question?
Yeah, well, yeah. Can an indie developer ever become third party, and if so, and if they
essentially,
can, who do you think it could?
Indie developers already are.
Yeah.
Do you mean like second
indie?
party?
That was indie, right? Rocket League?
No. Well, see,
yeah,
here's
Rocket
the thing.
League is indie.
Rocket League's indie, but you can get it everywhere except Wii U.
It's a AAA title, in my opinion, for
I
what
agree.
we used to define that as, right?
But see, here's the thing. Indie game, the only thing they're not tethered to is a publisher. So someone like Sony can come in and say, "Hey, we want to get this as an exclusive on our platform for a year." The only real exceptions to that for a long time were Super Meat Boy, which eventually came to PS4. It didn't come to PS3 like I wanted it to. Damn it. And Ori and the Blind Forest.
Well,
everything else comes out on PC, and then once it comes out on PC, that's where they're going to get the lion's share of their audience, and then once the rants and raves sort themselves out and the dust settles, that's when Xbox and PS4 come a-calling and say, "Hey, we're going to put you on our platform."
But do you think that if they do become third party as indie developers, because people would think, well, if you guys are indie turning into third, does that mean that not only are you releasing digital day one, that we're also getting physical day ones?
So I guess to answer your original question, the answer is yes. Could it happen?
Mega Man Legends, didn't that just happen with that? That was a digital release.
No, it was supposed to be a Wii U exclusive.
From the start?
It was built for Wii U.
For Legends? What? Yeah.
Rayman Legends was built for Wii U.
No, I'm talking about Mega Man. The Mega Man game that just came out.
Mighty Number 9?
No. The one before that had the collection.
Legacy collection?
Yeah, the Legacy collection. It was a digital release, and then the physical didn't come out for.
No, that was always intended to be a physical.
Physical release, yeah.
That was always intended to be a physical. That Capcom said from
That
day one.
has happened with
to...
some Wii games, though, hasn't it?
Yeah, it happened with Shovel Knight, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
Right.
I think the answer to the question, like your base question, is yes. It definitely could happen. Indie, by any definition, studio could become a third-party. Hell, they could become a first-party studio.
Yeah, I mean, look at. Sorry, just early on, like, let's look at the original Xbox. They brought on an indie studio that made their flagship title.
Oh, Bungie. Somebody referenced that earlier, right?
Yeah, Bungie was like a 30-man team making games for Mac.
Marathon. Good point.
Yeah, Marathon.
Yeah. What was that all about? I never, because didn't they say
Halo,
they turned Marathon into?
I played that with Peter Glass. It was a
Halo
long
started
time.
out as a pseudo sequel to Marathon, and it started out as a RTS, then it moved to a third-person action game, and then Microsoft, like, they were at Macworld that year, and Apple was announcing that they were going to try to do something with gaming, and Halo was going to be this flagship launch title for their gaming platform, and Microsoft came in and bought Bungie to make
and said,
Halo.
nah.
Yeah.
Hashtag old school gaming knowledge. Right?
Because something like Alien Hominid, that was a Flash game, and it turned up on the GameCube and PS2, like later on down the line.
Same with Super Meat Boy. It was a Flash game. Well, it was Meat Boy as a Flash game, and then the Team Meat developed Super Meat Boy for Xbox. It was a Summer of Arcade thing, I believe.
I think I agree with Adam here. If I'm not having enough beers to be wrong on the name,
Too late.
I just think that the line. I did. I got it wrong.
No, you're good.
Oh, okay.
I'm just messing with
Hell,
you.
dude. No, I just think the line is just going to blur, and it's going to blur more and more and more as time passes.
I want to finish and add to my point to that is this is only new for this console generation. That scene has existed on PC gaming for a long time now.
Yes.
Where you've got the Greenlight project and all that other stuff that exists on Steam and all those games. It's only now where those games are coming to console, and this is where you go back to the first PlayStation conference where this is the system that didn't really have many games, but they came up and they did half-hour presentation on what they call indie games on consoles, which was something new. Now I think
it was new the last console generation.
It wasn't as big. It wasn't as big.
Xbox 360 brought Summer of Arcade. It brought indie games to the forefront
that
for
was
consoles.
the start of indie.
Braid,
I would
Limbo.
agree with forefront, but it was not. They're not on stage and being shown off as AAA games.
That was actually a surprise, I think, even to Microsoft, how that took off.
Yeah, like, I was quite surprised that you had... I mean, I thought it was really cool that you had 6 or 7 or 8 people showing off all these different games that I probably wouldn't have heard of unless now it's something as console gamers that it's new to us, and this is where I think the question... It comes to around my point where it's just like, it's just going to fade away because it's now part of... They're just video games.
Yeah.
Right, and they never were anything other than just video games.
Yeah, it's just because they were
I do
labeled.
still think that there's a
right?
difference for first party. I think first party still matters because it's completely and always going to be exclusive as long as we have multiple console manufacturers.
Right.
Yeah,
I think
makes
that's
sense.
going to be the only distinction that really matters. It's first party exclusive, and then there's everything else in my opinion.
You're not wrong. I mean, I think if the metric for Ed's question is, can an indie developer cross the barrier to making physical games as well as digital? Because that really is that is probably the difference between indie and third party. I would actually pick 2 developers because of their versatility. I would pick Vlambeer, who did Luftrausers and Nuclear Throne, as well as a slew of other games. I think they also did Super Crate Box. They've been doing indie games forever. And then Capybara, who did, I believe they did Super Time Force.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And then they're doing Below right now, and they have a pedigree of doing quality games. You could make the argument for Twisted Pixel, but they really fell off with Lococycle.
Well,
they haven't been able to.
Microsoft owns them.
Right, but I'm just saying they still do indie ass games, even though Microsoft is funding them. It's the equivalent of the Child of Light.
Never do they own them?
Huh? No, they
Funding
probably.
never
I mean, well, Lococycle, their games do not appear anywhere else except iPhone. So,
okay.
but you know, I would make the argument that they're still very much an indie studio, despite that.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of in the way that the Ubisoft did the Child of Light and the Valiant Hearts, where they were very much indie games, but just with big money
Those are the
behind
greatest
them.
examples of why this is getting so confusing.
Exactly.
I've hated having this conversation about categories for forever.
It's really weird now. It used to be so easy. Now it's really weird.
No, it's action adventure. No, it's horror. Like, dude, it's all of them. Oh, sorry. And this isn't addressed at anyone. I had all these arguments and debates with some people in a poll that was done the other day about gaming categories, and I'm just like, people take these distinctions way more seriously than they were meant to be.
Yeah.
The internet takes everything way too seriously.
Right, because I was thinking of limited run games. They released Shadow Complex for PS4, and it didn't. And as a physical copy, and I didn't know nothing about it. So now I was just thinking, I wonder if limited run games can be a good partner for a lot of indies that like teaming up with them, and maybe like a month after a digital release or on a digital release of a game, they could do a limited run for physical copies that people go.
We're gonna start seeing so many less and less physical copies of games too going forward.
Yeah, we are.
There will eventually be a first-party digital-only game.
Yep.
I guarantee it, and it's coming in the next 10 to 15 years, maybe less.
It'll be here in 5.
Yeah,
that
especially
would
with
be
these
my
new
biggest
consoles
guess.
coming out. I guarantee you, one of these games, like
Nintendo
once they have to start putting a game on multiple Blu-ray discs, that game is going to be digital only.
Nintendo has done it with Rhythm Heaven Mega Mix. That's a major IP for Nintendo.
Only?
Yeah, and Box Boy and what else has Nintendo done recently that's digital only? Oh, Pushmo.
So I guess people don't even think about it because it's Nintendo, and apparently everybody's forgotten about Nintendo these days. Until
we haven't.
Came out.
Corey, Ed, and I have not forgotten Nintendo.
All right.
Okay,
Adam, go ahead.
I think games are there right now. It's just the platform is not there in the market. Like you got
Nintendo?
No. Just so you take games like Star Wars Battlefront, Titanfall, the original one. These ones had no campaign. They're just all online. These games could just have been digital games.
Titanfall would have been a great example of that.
But there's no one's at that. We're slowly getting there, but we're not at that point where digital numbers are going up, but we're not at that point where physical is going to fade away yet. It eventually will. Like over time, like even when you take formats, like the Blu-ray format is going to change at some point, but at some point, like everything else, like you can go back to his music with vinyl and CDs, they will get smaller and smaller because the technology will just get better. It's just not there yet in the market, but
Vinyl's forever, Ed. Or Adam.
No, and I agree, but I think that the physical media will stick to like the more mass market stuff.
You could take TV as a whole too, like Netflix and cable going down. People it's just people. Digital is and on demand is what people want, and as soon as you make that technology easy and accessible to everyone, it is going to take off. It's just people like things not taking up space outside of the collector. That's it's just
the biggest hurdle is rights.
That's true.
Rights is because when I have a physical disc, I own this disc, and I can play this disc whenever the hell I want, however the hell I want, And that's the biggest issue, because with digital, the rights is the problem. Like I bought a lot of movies on Amazon, for example, and a lot of games on PlayStation, and I wonder, like, if PlayStation goes under, am I just going to lose access to everything that they have to offer? But I'll still be able, as long as my PlayStation 4 works, and as long as I have the disc, to play through that offline campaign. And they're getting to the point where they're making not even that possible, because they're like, no, you can't play this disc until you hop online. But anyway, you know what I mean? That's the issue that's holding us back on digital, is rights.
Yep.
And there's a bunch of people.
I think it's addressed, though. Like, they're getting there, and I'll reference Steam with their 5 sharing account. And Microsoft was going there on the original release of their Xbox One, their family plan, but they took it away once they got the hate on for everything went down, when they wanted to be always online.
Can we please talk about that? Oh.
But
let's not.
Sorry. I know it's been years.
It's just, and this is I think we talked about Corey in his last discussion when he decided, I want to go digital only. If I don't like a game, I can still go in and trade it in for something and get something of value or sell it somewhere else. I can't do that with a digital game right now.
But you should feel bad about trading it in for not supporting the developer.
But you paid full price to it, so you've already paid.
Right. I was being sarcastic, by the way, just so you know.
You also got to know that this is what I found out recently from GameStop, is they're not getting as much money as they used to from publishers and developers for selling a brand new game. A few years ago, they used to get probably about anywhere from $8 to $10 for a brand new game kickback. They might get $3 to $5 a game now. So this is why they've struggled as a business, and that's why they've changed their business model with that. So, and people give them a lot of hate because of their business model, but they're alive because they're giving you an avenue to trade your game in, and there's no one else do it. You have the option to do it somewhere else, but here's an avenue where you could trade something in and get something you might like.
It's how the free market works, and this industry seems to think that the free market shouldn't apply to them.
Yeah.
The free market should apply to you, because it applies to basically every other business. Nobody's going to complain and whine and cry when I sell my coffee table.
Nobody complains about buying used cars.
Yeah, yeah. I don't understand it. I've gotten into conversations with people, and I think it's just an ideological difference in thinking. And I don't know. I'm not anti-consumer. I'm pro free market as a personal kind of ideology, and just like, no, if this is what the market wants, this is what the market should get. You don't get to make special complaints and special rules for yourself. Yeah. Anyway,
to quote Ed McMahon from The Tonight Show, yes, you are correct, sir.
All right, Adam, you could go with your 20 questions. I just wanted to ask
20 questions.
That was a good question. That got a good conversation.
I think we're all in agreement with you, but we just feel, I guess it sounds like we're just like it's just a.
It's a big topic to tackle. There's so many ways.
Wait a second.
I think
Wait a second. We're all in agreement?
Yeah.
Oh, well, then I'm just going to disagree on principle. We have to do. Someone has to.
I disagree. Your glasses look dumb. How about that?
I could have told you that, sir.
Oh, well, actually, they look kind of cool. I wish I wore my sunglasses.
I know indie games as just being indie, and even like with Flash games, that's just been known. So I guess I'm just used to it. But I can see your viewpoint, Adam, of that these are just games. And that's how I kind of view them. But I guess I just define them that they're indie because they're from a smaller developer, and they're like they're not like the Nintendo to me, or the Sony to me, or the Microsoft to me. I just be like, oh, this is from an indie developer. And trust me, I go cuckoo crazy for good games from indie developers. I give them the same respect like any other developer and publisher. If your game is as good as Super Mario Brothers World, by good, I would give you praise and be like, you know what? I look forward to your next game, and I want to support your next game.
Like Ori was. That's the new Super Mario, by the way, ladies and gentlemen.
Like I want Cuphead. Like that is the next I'm going to say indie, so forgive me. That's the newest indie game that I'm looking forward to my Xbox One. Record, yeah, but like Cuphead, I want that day one when it's released.
Yeah. Yeah,
And Ori and the Blind Forest was the reason that I got an Xbox One. And that's the first time an indie game has done that to me.
It's the reason why I love my Xbox One, which is actually my son's, but yeah.
I love my PlayStation 4 too, don't get me wrong. Not just give me The Last Guardian and so I can be good to go.
Hey, I love my Wii U too. I mean,
of course I'm going to love my Wii U.
It's dusty, but I love it.
Mario Maker's still amazing, dude. Still
true.
amazing.
That's true.
Corey.
Don't make me any levels, because I'll cry.
Well, I
go
have to
ahead,
beat him
Corey.
first. 20 questions. Let's do this.
Okay. 20
questions.
questions. I have a game. So here's how it works. Everybody's going to get a guess, and then we'll go back around. So no jumping out of turn. No taking someone else's turn. So here we go. I got my game. Matt, we're going to start with you. Since you're fly guy over there, I don't know what you are.
I'm pretty fly for a white guy?
You're mixed.
No, I'm not.
You're not really white, you're clear.
Okay, fair.
Like Larry Bird in Space Jam. What?
No. No. Okay, so is it a game made in the HD era?
No.
Okay. So it's pre-Xbox 360 PS2. Okay.
Is it an exclusive?
Yes. Ed?
Oh, I thought it was Johnson. Is it a first-party game?
Yes.
Okay. Pre-HD era, first-party game, exclusive. John, it's your question.
It's my turn?
We're doing 20 questions.
Pre-HD.
It's pre-HD. It's an exclusive. And it's a first-party game.
Halo? Oh, wait. No, I shouldn't guess, right?
You can ask a yes or no question.
Okay, gotcha. Is it... I'm not even sure if you'd know this, but has it received Game of the Year?
Oh, man, that's something I would have to look up. Let me look.
I can ask a different question if you'd like.
I'm sure somewhere it won Game of the Year.
Not very specific.
Yeah, I can want a yes or no on that. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm new to this.
Okay.
Your question's fine. Your question's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm looking up. Let's see. This game has received a Game of the Year award.
Okay.
Oh, I know what my next question is.
Okay, so now we're back around to me.
Yeah.
Is it a cartridge-based game?
When it was initially released, it was a cartridge-based game.
Crap. The onion has more layers than we wanted it to.
Yeah, that kind of throws me off for a loop there. Cartridge.
I actually think that's a pretty big help, actually.
Oh, actually, I have a good question. Go ahead, Adam.
Wait, we'll let Adam go.
I know, that's what I said. Go ahead, Adam.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
I swear you look like you're from Top Gun, Matt.
Shut up, Ed.
Is this on a Nintendo platform?
Yes.
Did
You asked if it was for a Nintendo platform, right?
Yes.
I heard you right.
did the game use one analog controller or two analog controllers?
It was
It's
a
not
cartridge.
yes.
I mean, two analogs.
It's a cartridge-based game.
So? Oh, wait.
I don't understand the
Well,
question.
You have to ask a yes or no. You can't give him a one or the other.
Did it use
situation.
one analog for the controller?
Are you talking about a stick? Like a joystick?
It's an analog.
Yeah, an analog stick, a
No.
joystick.
No.
Okay. So then that rules out the N64 then.
Yes, it does.
Is it my turn now?
Yep.
Hmm.
Was the game co-op? Or no, was the game co-op?
No. That's 8 questions.
Okay. Cartridge-based. No analog sticks. 3HD. Okay, Nintendo platform.
Matt's got his thinking glasses on.
Do 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 do.
Was that supposed to be the Jeopardy song? Was that
Tough
the
Guy.
Jeopardy?
No.
Oh, okay. I was going to say. That didn't sound like Jeopardy.
Hold on, what song?
Dangerous.
What song was it?
It was Top Gun.
Oh, Top Gun.
God, I
Yeah,
wish
I
I,
thought it was
never.
Jeopardy.
I wish I never
that
wore.
song.
I wish I never wore these glasses now because I fucking hate Top Gun.
We call you Goose. Can we start calling you Goose?
Goose!
Goose.
Bye, guys. No. Okay. So, was this a 16-bit game?
Yes.
Is Mario the character in the game?
No.
Is the main character a female?
Yes.
I know what it is.
Should I guess the game now?
No.
If you want.
I thought I was supposed to.
No, do you have a guess?
Yeah, I have a guess.
What's your guess?
Metroid.
Which one?
Seriously? I have to pick the original or the sequel?
You gotta pick the
you got to
game.
remember we did say it was we did say it was a 16-bit game. The original Metroid.
Super
is
Metroid.
Not okay.
That's the only one I know. That's
Does
my
anybody
guess.
else have any quandaries with that?
We have lots of questions left. We can.
Because we still have.
Wait. So
we
if
still
I
have-
ask the question, like the game's over?
If you guess, it's
if
over.
you guess a game, the game is over.
Yes.
So is there any downside to being
so-
wrong?
Does anybody else have any arguments about Super Metroid? Because that's actually what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I do. I think we should use the question to our advantage to lead us to that.
I agree, but it would be impressive to do it now. Just want to say this. And
The only-
there were
the-
very few female characters, female main characters in that era, and I can't think of a single other option.
Yeah.
Like,
it has
does
to be
like rule it out with does she turn into a morph ball or something like that or
Okay, one more. Maybe
something,
one more.
I don't know.
Okay, I'm gonna. Okay, since it's okay, John, come up with a generic question.
Based
I'll
on that
come up
game. Based on
I'll
that
come
game.
up with a generic question, and then Adam can come up with and just really hit this home.
Okay, it's like cemented. Got it. Okay, so it's not my turn though. I just asked the question.
It is your turn.
It is your turn, yeah.
But that
It's
was
your turn for a question.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Well, somebody else said it. Does the character have the ability to turn into a morph ball?
Yes.
Super
Do we
Metroid.
really need to keep going?
Do we? Should I, guys? Should I? Adam?
Can we just say Super Metroid?
Adam?
I'm not disagreeing now. I just wanted that reassurance.
All right.
Is it
That's
Super
a good one.
Metroid?
Yes, it's Super Metroid.
Woohoo!
I don't like to lose.
No, hey,
I don't blame you.
I hear you.
This was your game. You better not want to lose.
I really hope I get 20 questions next time, because I got a good one. I think
Well,
y'all will
Adam
not
did it
get.
first. They had me do it last week. It was Corey's turn. So I believe it'll be not Corey's or my turn next week. So if you're on next week, you can have it.
Yeah.
This is really fun. I like that. That was a lot of fun.
I could do next week. I would try my best to get home again and
Well,
do my 20 questions.
you always know you're welcome, Ed. Adam, you always know you're welcome. John, I'm pretty sure we're going to keep extending an invitation to you.
You
now,
guys go
'cause this
ahead and
went
talk
really well.
about it. We'll see, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. We've been going for a really long time, so we're gonna wrap it up here.
2.5 hours.
John, we're gonna start with you. You want to plug your channel one more time?
Yeah, and I plugged it earlier, and I'm even happier to plug it now. I have a home cooking show with my family. It's called Arianna's House. You can find us at youtube.com/Arianna's House. And honestly, we have a lot of fun. It's just simple home cooking, as I mentioned earlier, for people who just happen to sit through this whole thing. And we have a lot of fun. And one of the features of our show, actually, gentlemen, is that we make dishes in honor of supporters and friends of the show. We make dishes. Sorry, my family's doing some stuff behind me.
They doing their thing.
Yeah, exactly. This is Arianna's house. So I would like to go ahead and extend an offer for you guys to go ahead and think about it. Maybe we can have the community vote about it. And we are going to do a dish and a special episode in honor of your show and your community and your fans. So, yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll come up with something, and we'll kind of collaborate that way. I'll shout you guys out to the community that I've built, though it's not as big as yours. And, yeah, thank you for having me on. I've really had a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was awesome.
Yay.
Matt?
I'm gonna pitch something right now. I want you to come up with a snack to game with.
Gaming snack. Ooh, I like this.
Okay, there. Since we all do that, gaming
How about
snack.
some? I'm thinking some.
Don't talk
loaded
about it.
tortilla chips?
Nope. You save that. Hi, Sammy.
She's leaving for work.
Bye, Sammy.
Bye,
Okay,
Sammy.
so I am infinite_rewind just about everywhere. PSN, Instagram, Twitch, Wii U, even though, yeah. I'm also doing music reviews now on DNA, and I'm in the midst of finalizing my next one. My first one was on Avalanche's new album, Wildflower. So far, it's my favorite album of the year. Check it out. It's really good. I also am a co-host on the Platinum Achievement podcast. I'm not as on there as often as I would like to be because work and life, but I try, and I have more fun here because this is definitely more my speed. So, if anything, catch me here every week. So, Adam, you're next.
Thank you, sir. All right, you can check me out, Fallen Little Angel, on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, and PSN handle _Angel. Doing a lot of Let's Play playthroughs of mostly JRPGs, which I'm pushing and tweeting on DNA Network Channel, and I do the DualShock show with Corey once a week, which check out. We talk about PlayStation, so Fallen Little Angel.
Ed?
You guys can find me on Twitter at ThatRetroCode, ThatRetrocode. I do 2 podcasts you can check out on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play, and other podcast apps. My main podcast is Optional Opinion, and I co-host also with World 11 Podcast. We just did the commentary for The Wizard, so do check that out. And Optional Opinion, I'm doing an episode about Bayonetta 2 and DMC Devil May Cry on the problems it started out with to the actual game release. So do check that episode out. You can find me on IGN.com under Anime, ENIME. I'm getting ready to do my the Beauty of Video Games project that's going to be coming in September, so you guys be able to read those blogs and hear those podcasts. I also write for skirmishfrogs.com, skirmishfrogs.com, where I do a series called The Moment, where I'll talk about retro games and how they reflect on my personal life. I record with the DNA guys for Nerds. Nerds Gone Wrong, DualShock, Connected, that just was released. Power Block, and I also do writings for Digital Nerds Advocates, so you guys can check that out. Follow me on Twitch at The Lyrical One, where I'll be teaching my Let's Learns. I just got DLC Devil May Cry, so I'm going to be teaching about combos and how to pull them off and where they actually started at. Other than that, you can find me on Facebook under Ever Varnell and on World 11. But do check that out. Yeah.
Do you ever play video games?
Yes.
No,
Really?
he just talks about them and writes about them.
When the hell do you find time to play video games?
I have Wii U, Xbox One, PS4, and I pick different things out from each video game and use that as a topic. So and then I have some weird topics like, can video games help your sex life? So I do stuff like that also.
Oh shit!
Wait. Can they?
Yes.
Oh
Actually,
wait, really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, no.
Yeah.
I agree. Like me and my wife, after some Gears co-op, or never mind. I'm gonna leave that alone.
Yeah.
No,
So,
hang on. I wasn't gonna do this, but I kind of have to now that you brought that up.
What is about to happen? What the hell is happening?
oh, you can find me on Wii U under Optional Opinion, Xbox Live, the Lyrical One, capital D A capital LYRICAL, the number 1, and for PSN you can find me on Comical, OKAMICAL.
Matt, you
Love
son
you,
of a
John.
bitch. Sorry, Edward. Hey, I'm gonna check you out on all that, dude. You sound awesome.
He is awesome.
I do a lot, a whole bunch, yeah.
Screw you, Matt. Oh, you son of a
All right. Well, you can find me on Twitter at RogueSpartan4 and also Twitch and Instagram at RogueSpartan4, and on PSN and Xbox Live and Wii U at RogueSpartan4. You can find all of our content collectively at DigitalNerdAdvocates.com and on our YouTube page at youtube.com/Digital Nerd Advocates Network. You can follow the DNA Network on Twitter at the DNA Network. You can like us on Facebook. If you're a content creator, you can join the community page, share your stuff, find people to collaborate with, or just talk games, movies, whatever you feel like talking about. It's all there. Thank you so much for watching or listening to NGR Radio. You can find it on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, and Google Play, also along with our podcast, the DNA podcast, and DualShocked, and eventually Connected and Power Block are also going up there. So make sure you check out all of our shows, and until next time, we're out.
Peace out.
Banana and out.